Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spawncast episode 305. My voice is back. I'm back, ready for another Saturday night, and we had a pretty good week. There's a lot of stuff that happened this past week, so we have quite a bit to go over here. We are missing what are we missing? Sean. I thought he was going to be on tonight. He's maybe next week he'll be back because I saw a live stream this past week. I thought he might try to make it in, but you know we'll see him. I think next weekend. MVG is actually out. He's been traveling. I think this weekend, actually might be your next weekend, but we'll see then. Miss Click, congratulations to Click. Had a new member of the family there, so she'll be back when she's able to be back, of course. So there's a lot happening. It seems like in the Spawncast family.
For the chat, for you, like when you have a child, especially, like sleep is in very small quantities. The young lady's probably catching up on some sleep, catching up on some rest, you know?
So, healing. I mean, this shit's like a surgery.
Yeah, healing and just so yeah. But it's awesome, man. Show her some love on Twitter, man. She put up a picture. Her family.
Yeah.
It's adorable.
We should see Nate will pop in probably midway through. So we'll see Nate pop in here in a bit.
I'm happy for it.
So, but still got some people here. Talk about some games. We go around. We're gonna start with OJ Player Essence holding up the pre-show.
Yeah, pre-show was awesome, guys. Thank you for your support. We broke a new record, 530 something, 40 something like that. A lot of people there, so it was fun. And then we talked about my 5th grade basketball career the whole time, so it was great.
Oh,
some good highlights, I guess.
Yeah, but 6th grade, I hit the game-winning shots we were talking about.
Okay. We
discussed other things, but no, it was fun. We talked about video games. I answered questions, so it was fun.
We got Max, Dreamcast guy.
Hello, I'm part of the Metroid Prime Simp Committee. I'm happy to represent Metroid Prime.
It's good committee to be part of. Then we have Evan. Evan, of course, was the host last week. Much appreciated. Shout out to Evan there. But maybe you hear more of him tonight since there's just a couple of us. So we'll see what his opinion is on I don't know, something out of the direct. Maybe we'll see. But did we want to? We do have a Factor tonight as a sponsor. Check them out down below in the description. I'll talk a little bit more about them as we get further into the show. But do we have a Discord question we wanted to start things off with, Evan, from the community?
Yeah. I mean, I guess we can kind of get right into it for one of the topics. He wanted me to read this verbatim, so we'll get through it. It feels like more people bought Hogwarts Legacy with malicious intent out of spite for the boycott. Are gaming boycotts doomed to backfire thanks to the Streisand effect, or can a boycott work if people who boycott don't harass people who buy for easy grandstanding? And if there is no ethical consumption, what makes this the hill to die on? It's word for word.
I think, because I've made a couple videos talking about this, is that I think boycotts are complicated because it requires so much uniform participation. Like a boycott requires millions and millions of people to agree with the methodology, the timing. Like it requires so much. And with a brand as massive as Harry Potter, which has made tens of billions of dollars, you're not going to get normies on board. This game currently, I think it just broke 800,000 concurrent players on Steam. I think it's one of the biggest games of all time already. I don't think this boycott was going to be successful. Even if the amount of people on Twitter that claimed they weren't going to buy it, even if all those people didn't buy it, it's still going to be one of the biggest games of all time. So I don't think this boycott necessarily backfired because of its intentions. I think it backfired just because Harry Potter is a lot bigger than Harry Potter haters.
Yeah, I think
boycotts don't work.
No. Oh, I think 80% of the people who bought this game didn't even know there was a boycott at all.
Yeah. Boycotts don't work. They won't work in today's modern. They don't work.
I will say
boycott.
Well, they do in some ways. Like Battlefield 2042, people saw the beta, they chose to boycott. I will say that boycotts do work, but OJ is right in that more boycotts fail than succeed. Well, a successful boycott is rare.
Well, the problem is the follow-up to boycotts, because like with Battlefront 2, which was the boycott for the microtransaction removal, they still got all their sales before the boycott started affecting them. So like most companies are going to see it as, well, we could make the change and you still won't care. So why would we even give a shit?
Well, I think those are two different, like if you talk about like, hey, there's something wrong with this game, fix it, so we're going to boycott. That is a different type of thing. That's a quality issue compared to, I don't like this person or this happened outside of the game and we're going to boycott. Those don't work. those type of boycotts where it's some type of people try to say, well, I'm going to do this. Those ones have a very hard time of working and can motivate people to buy the game. I think that one does. Now, the other boycotts with the actual game itself, I don't know if those ones motivate people to go out there and buy it, but I know that like the ones that are outside of gaming and people say this, yes, there are people like, you know what, screw this. I don't got it. You can't be the boss of me. I'm going to buy this. Like, I don't care. I've definitely seen people who have done that with lots of variety of games.
I do feel like that's an exceedingly rare. People that have enough liquid income to purchase a $70 game are incredibly rare. There are definitely those people on Twitter that are posting 5 copies of Hogwarts Legacy, but I feel like in the grand scheme of things with the size of this brand, I feel like they're incredibly scarce. I will say, in my opinion, I feel like 95% of boycotts are because it's like, this game sucks, let's vocally not buy it. I'd say most ones are not necessarily a moral conundrum like this one is.
Seems though like it just gives the game more advertising. It's just free advertising that you're doing for the game. In my opinion, listen, every single class I took in marketing in college and all, it would be like every single company would be like, hell yeah, we want some of that. You know what I'm saying? Because all you're doing is just showing off the game more. You're just talking about the game more. It's just it's making articles and stuff like that. So I mean, look at Hogwarts. Hogwarts sold like crazy. So
well, remember the famous MVG quote? He's not here, so I'll say it for him. But he'd always say, I love Pokemon boycotts because they sell more copies. So let's get another boycott going.
Yeah.
That's the last piece of the puzzle. You need your game to sell well, you got to start a boycott somehow. That's how it works.
I feel like they have what do they call it? Astroturfing is the political term, where you make a fake group that's like, we hate this game, just so more people will talk about how they love it.
Yeah, I think WB is going to announce some crazy sales number either Monday or Tuesday.
It's going to be ridiculous.
I wouldn't be shocked if they announced 10 million.
Jeez,
is what I'll say.
Be impressed if they do. I'll be shocked just because that's so big.
I think it's going to be something like that.
If there's 1 million people concurrently on Steam.
Yeah, that's just concurrent. Yeah.
So that means PlayStation and Xbox. Oh, PlayStation for sure is going to sell way more than that.
It was number one on PlayStation.
Yeah, and Xbox is even up there. Even the physical edition of the Xbox.
Number 2 on Xbox. So
it was on Amazon too. Like physical games don't sell well on Amazon at all, and that was even up there. So I think that 10 million plus is definitely a possibility for sure.
I think people are going to be kind of surprised when that number gets revealed. So usually a concurrent count is just how many people are signed in at any given time. So you can multiply that by a couple factors there, I think. So it's we'll see. I think the PR statement goes out, I would say Wednesday at the latest, but I think they're going to announce some big like stupid number, and then they still have to launch it on the PS4 and the Xbox One, and then they have to also launch it on the Switch. So this game is like 20 to 25 million territory. I wouldn't be shocked if it gets there lifetime. Yeah, but hey, we'll see. You have another Discord question, Evan?
Holiday marketing and price drops. Oof.
Yeah.
Well, the moment a price drops, it's gonna be like
it
sells the same all over again. Just general question then. What does John do with all the random accessories and clone consoles from TechWave?
Some of them I just have boxed up in the basement that I just put in bigger boxes and stack them up and all of that and just put them in storage. If I don't use it, some of them I do use just for fun, but like the handhelds I just have stacked over here on a shelf. So I thought about just giving some of them away. I don't know. I mean, I've ripped them apart though. That's why I don't feel as comfortable giving away, because you take them apart, you break the seal on the screws. Sometimes the screw goes flying across the room, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna put it back together and put it away anyway. What do I care? So, but maybe if some of them go back together better than others, maybe I'll give them away at some point. But we'll see. Well, I guess we'll start with we'll start with Hogwarts Legacy. I was hoping Sean would be here for this because he did play it as well. Like I played it, he played it. I think I'm almost 14 hours into the game now. Max, you haven't started it yet. You said you just recently got it. So
I got it. I'm trying to beat Resident Evil 4. I'm beating the original Resident Evil 4 again, and then I'm going to start Hogwarts.
Okay. So I picked it up earlier in the week. I figured, you know what? I think I'll play it, and maybe Sean will play it or something. I was like, I've played games for this podcast for a while that may not have turned out well, like Saints Row. So whatever. I'll do Hogwarts, and I'm pleasantly surprised because the game is significantly better than I was expecting. Not like that the game would be necessarily bad just based on the previews they showed, but you see Avalanche Software on the come up, and they've done Disney Infinity and that kind of stuff, right? Cars 3. So I go in there, I'm like, is this going to be kind of a cash grab thing with them? But then they've shown the previews, and I'm like, all right, this could actually be a decent game. And as I'm playing it, I'm pretty surprised at several factors with it. One, the presentation, like right off the bat in the initial cutscene, you could tell it's high quality. I'll say right away. Like Max, when you start playing it in the first hour, you're gonna be like, okay, this is definitely a AAA game, but it also has kind of that polish and that quality to it.
I've heard that. I've seen the people show the Sorting Hat Hall, and I hear that like a couple hours in the game when you unlock flying, it like gets extremely huge all of a sudden.
Yes. So eventually you get your broom and you can like fly around Hogwarts, and you could fly around in just there's like a town nearby.
Yeah, Hogsmeade.
That one, yeah. I'm not very familiar with a lot of the lore or anything. I did look up like a 15-minute Cliff Notes thing for the entire series where somebody went like a mile a minute or a mile a second trying to explain everything all at once. So I kind of know the gist of the idea. But this takes place like, I don't know, 1,000 years or something before.
It's like 200 years, right? It's the 1800s or something.
Yeah. It's hundreds of years before. So like it just doesn't have those characters. I don't know. Maybe they reference a family tree or something that eventually goes to those characters. I don't know. I am not really sure. But as a video game, I was like, I'm going to approach this as just a game, not like, oh, wow, finally a Harry Potter game or something that's not terrible, because I saw those PS1 Harry Potter games and they're pretty bad.
Oh, yeah.
They're really bad. I was like, could this be a really fun game? And the answer is yes. I don't feel like you need to know anything about Harry Potter to actually enjoy this. The combat is pretty good. It's gotten better as you go, because essentially this is, the best way I can describe it is a mix of Bully and Witcher.
Okay. That sounds good. What?
I'm reminded of Bully for some of the classroom stuff that you do and some of the relationship stuff you do. And then I'm also reminded of The Witcher for some of the side quests, because they're genuinely interesting and they do go on for quite a while. And they also have like this Chow Garden Pokemon game thing thrown in there.
What?
Dude, the game, it's really weird. As I've gone, I'm 14 hours in, and they keep showcasing more stuff to me. So there's also, you have your own room that you build out with different collectibles that you have, and you just create furniture out of thin air and you build up your own little room how you want. There are classes you go to that then give you spells that you then use to either combat different enemies or open up newer areas, Metroidvania kind of style. And the game itself is running along this singular storyline, but then you can branch off and just go. This is a game where you can just go do stuff outside of the main storyline for probably 20 or 30 hours and not think about the main storyline at all. There is a full RPG system to it, like in terms of your character development, where you do level up. So you get experience for defeating enemies, but mostly it's for completing quests and challenges. And the challenges are linked to defeat so many spiders, or complete so many different quests here, or fly into balloons with your broom. Like, there's so many different things that you then build up with your challenges. But you level up, that raises your HP. It also raises a talent tree system that you have. And on top of that, you have an entire gear system that you can then change traits about your gear and appearances. And all of that plays into your defense and offense. Basically, there's just a ton of stuff in this game that continues to branch out. And it all feels pretty unique. So I'm not getting that Ubisoft fatigue, which is I thought I would get when I open up the map, and it's huge. You could fast travel basically everywhere as you get there, but I'm not getting that sense yet. And I think it's because everything feels genuinely unique. The castle, incredibly detailed. Everything around it seems like they spent a lot of time for each hall, and all the pictures will move as you walk by them to play along with the lore and all of this. It's quite impressive from Avalanche Software. Like I'm actually shocked as I'm playing this game how it continues to open up and how much detail is like in every bit of it. It's staggering at times.
I've heard some people saying it's a surprisingly happy game, that some of the Harry Potter books get darker and darker and darker, because I read the 7 Harry Potter books, and the new movies are more like chipper adventure sort of dark. Does it feel, what's the vibe on it?
So the game is weird in that sense. I feel like I feel like they had a morality system in this game early on, and then they took it out because it feels like they have decisions for you to make that would normally put you towards the light or dark side. So you might get something for someone in a quest, and they're like, can you please retrieve this heirloom? My brother died. He was eaten by a giant spider. Can you please go get the ring back from basically his corpse that's like spun up in a web?
My God.
Yeah, right. And you're like, okay, and you go and get it. And when you bring it back, you defeat this big enemy, this big boss, right? Big spider. Bring it back. And they're like, wow, you found it. And one of the options is, what are you going to give me for it?
Yeah, hell yeah.
And it's like, I feel like you either go, here, it's all yours, don't worry, or here, give me money for this heirloom that means a ton to you. I feel like there was originally something that's like, okay, now you go more towards the light side or you go towards the dark side or something. And they must have taken it out because it's like, why wouldn't you just pick the option that just gets you more money?
Well, I've heard you could do the death curse, like there's like the unforgivable curses, and you can just do them in the game, and nobody even bats an eye. Like, and the developer is like, yeah, be evil if you want. We won't count it as evil. It definitely sounds like a removed morality system.
Dude, okay, so it can be super violent too. Like you were saying, it's a happy game. Dude, you have like these ancient magic powers. And I'm like, oh, cool. What's this do? You hit L1 and R1. You have like a little bar that fills up as you're battling. And your guy just calls lightning out of the sky and it actually explodes the enemy. And it could just be a human. And they just explode into pieces. You're like, whoa.
Can you murder other students?
Well, it'd be dark wizards or like poachers and stuff.
Sure.
You'd be out in the field and you'll just wipe them out. It's like, wow, that felt incredibly violent for a fifth-year student to be doing to other people.
I want to, so people do those like Skyrim genocide runs or Fallout genocide run. I want to see somebody do like a Hogwarts Legacy genocide run, just wiping out the countryside.
Fable. Somebody said it kind of sounds like it does. It feels a little like Fable. I think the morality system, maybe it was just too convoluted, or it was like, well, you can't use these cool spells because they're linked to the dark arts or something. And it's like, do whatever you want, I guess. But maybe they could have included that, and they would have just added a bit more of a twist to the whole game. Because it doesn't feel like the decisions, those kind of dialogue, really have any impact otherwise. It's like, which one gets me more stuff? Because this NPC I'm talking to is not going to remember this option when I come back in 5 minutes, after I do this to them.
This is a memory wipe on them.
After I make them buy back their deceased brother's heirloom from me. It's like, that's the only thing there. And kind of getting around, it's weird. There might be maybe a wall that's 2 feet in front of you and you can't jump over it. And it's like, why can't I jump over this? And you have to like walk around. You can call lightning out of the sky. You can fly your broom all over the place, but you can't hop 2 feet over this thing or climb. Sometimes that'll happen in the world. But otherwise, I like what I'm seeing here. The story it's all right. It's like they keep doing this thing where they keep giving you more and more mystery on top of mystery. And then I guess at the end, it's going to, people have spoiled the ending all over the place. The ending's been spoiled for me.
Yeah, same. I couldn't avoid it. Everybody on Twitter is spoiling it like crazy.
But some of the side quests have their own stories to them that haven't been spoiled. So there's a lot of different branching stories and stuff already. But the combat is good. The gameplay is fun. The exploration's interesting. And the character creation is shockingly built out. It's just it's a good game. There's not much else to say about it. If you're really into Harry Potter, you'd probably love this game. For me, I'm like, hey, this is a good game. As just someone who's just for video games. I don't know. I guess the idea of wizards and witches and video games all being imaginative kind of goes together. So, and yeah, it does take so much. It does take like 3 or 4 seconds to open a door. Sometimes it's a loading thing, I guess, but it maybe at one point think a door was just locked and you couldn't go in it. And I walked away and then came back later and just opened it immediately. So it's weird. I'm also going to say if they get this game to run on the Switch decently, it is going to be the most impressive Switch port by far.
It's going to look terrible. That's when we'll see the Switch boycott.
It's going to be more impressive than The Witcher 3. This game, I think on the PS5 is almost 100 gigabytes. I think so. And there's a lot going on in this game. You can tell, like the fact that they had to delay the last gen version of the PS4 and Xbox One. I even understand that because it seemed like there's just a lot of stress in this game on these systems. I have it on performance mode, so it does its best to get near 60, but it's good. it's good, and not much else to say about it from there. It came out as, you know, this is a game I think that's going to put Avalanche on the map a bit more. Kind of reminds me of back in the day when Arkham Asylum came out.
Oh yeah.
And everyone's like, who's Rocksteady? They're doing a Batman game. And then it comes out, you're like, wow, I'm going to keep an eye on Rocksteady. I'm going to keep an eye on Avalanche Software. They did a very good job with this game. I think you'll like it, Max, when you play it. I'm sure OJ will check it out more and more as it goes along.
I'm not a Harry Potter person. So
you got to check it out when it hits the Switch, just for the curiosity's sake of it.
If I get a code for it, I'll do it. If I get a code for it, but I'm not like actively trying to go out there and buy the game. Now, if it's like cheap, like later, like if it's cheaper, then I'll pick it up and play. But I'm not like, oh my gosh, super excited to go out there, because I'm not into Harry Potter. I'm not into like wizards and all that.
That's actually how I'm going into it, OJ. I kind of hate Harry Potter. Like, I've read all the books and I enjoyed them as a kid, but man, over time I've soured on all the ridiculous plot holes and time travel and shit.
I've seen the movies, you know, but like I think my whole goal was to try to like make out with a girl when I went to go see the movies. Like, and then my goal wasn't even to like,
just like randomly in the theater.
To like watch the
yeah, if I'm gonna find a girl,
didn't even go there with them. You're just like that one right there.
Like, oh, you like Harry Potter? We can go, you know. But my goal wasn't to watch.
No one's gonna touch my wand before those ending credits.
So I wasn't trying to pay attention to the movie when I went to go see them, but I've seen all the movies. You know, it was just my mind was focused somewhere else.
I don't know how long the game is necessarily. I have like the main quest line that's halfway done now, and I think 14 hours or so, level 20. So I'm not really sure how long the game is going to last, but if it's a solid 25 to 30 for the main playthrough, that's not bad.
I'm reading here, it says that main campaign takes most people 35 hours, and in order to get the platinum trophy, it takes 60 to 80 hours.
Wow, there's a lot going on. As I said, there's a lot of things to do in the game.
I'll probably pick it up probably like Black Friday type of deal.
Yeah,
or something
a sale.
I'll probably get it for sure. I'll check it out.
Yep. I was surprised. The RPG elements are deep. The story is presented well. Good character creation. It's interesting game. So it's easy recommendation if you're a fan of the universe with Harry Potter and all that. So otherwise, yeah, maybe a sale and all that isn't a bad idea. But high quality game. So shout out to Avalanche. We'll see what they have 4 or 5 years from now with their next team. Evan, do we have a Discord question over there we can go to as I pull up the direct?
In terms of leaving a lasting imprint on gaming culture as a whole, which would you say is the bigger game of the last decade, Skyrim or Breath of the Wild?
I mean,
last decade?
Yeah. Personally, I'd say Skyrim, just because something that re-released that consistently.
It has been everywhere. I think they put it on a fridge or something at one point.
And just because of the source that it comes on with PC, like the amount of people modding it to enhance it, fix it, the fact that Bethesda compiled those mods into special editions and resold that to people. I mean, they've even recently done the co-op update that fans made for it for PC, so you can actually play it multiplayer now. Like that has more impact, I'd think, than Breath of the Wild, but maybe that's just because Breath of the Wild is only on the Switch, which means it doesn't get the chance for all that extra stuff.
Like, you mean on gaming in general, like because Skyrim's been out a lot longer, so we have more time to kind of like judge it based on its effect on gaming. I don't know, you know what? I think it'll be interesting with Tears of the Kingdom, because that'll tell us what kind of effect Breath of the Wild had on gaming then. Because if they stick with that formula as we kind of think they will, and it just continues to evolve, then it'll be like, all right, this is pushing them in this kind of direction. Also, I came out in 2017, and these games take like 5-6 years to make. So I'm curious if anyone tries to more or less mimic some of the Breath of the Wild open world stuff.
Some small, like Genshin Impact, you know, there's been some stuff where it's been like inspiration, but Skyrim's older, so therefore more stuff has had time to have inspiration from Skyrim. There's been some smaller indie stuff. That's Breath of the Wild. I think there was like this one game on Switch, I forgot what the name was, but it was pretty
Oceanhorn.
Skyrim.
Oceanhorn.
Inspired by Breath of the Wild. So Skyrim's just been out longer, so I'd say Skyrim. But you know, there's been some newer stuff that's inspired by Breath of the Wild, which is cool. But it's kind of hard. Breath of the Wild is such a weird game at times. So
I wrote a video a long time ago of what I considered at the time. I think I wrote it in 2016, but I wrote what I considered to be some of the most impactful games. And I actually put Skyrim as number one because I do feel like Skyrim felt like one of the first games that really was with meme culture. Like there were memes before that, and obviously there's more influential games like Mario and Zelda creating save files and stuff. But Skyrim, maybe it was just because of how much it impacted me. But man, not only was it just so big, it created fantasy. I don't know. I feel like nobody had seen open world fantasy on that scale before. The fact that we're still talking about it 12 years later is a testament to its.
Bethesda won't shut the hell up about it. We can't stop talking about it.
I saw a meme where it's a picture of Todd Howard wearing like a fake mustache and glasses, and it goes, "Oh, you don't want to buy that Wizard game? Well, I have a magic game for you, kids."
Pull up your phone and you can play Skyrim on a freaking Alexa on Amazon.
Sure.
Like it's legit, and I've done it before.
I've
literally
fridge,
sat
man.
there and like did voice commands and play Skyrim on my phone, like voice commands.
I have Skyrim on Switch, and it actually looks fantastic.
Let me go over to our sponsor actually for tonight real quick. That's Factor. So shout out to Factor for sponsoring tonight's podcast. Keeping on track with your nutrition to meet your goals is easy when you have Factor on your side with their meal delivery service that comes straight to your door. No more spending time in the line at grocery stores. You get carefully crafted, fresh, never frozen meals every week. Pick from 34 chef-prepared meals, giving you something new to try every week. Factor is also flexible, so you can change your order size or even skip a week for a special event you might have going on. The best part is you have a meal ready in just a few minutes by popping in the microwave, and cleanup is easy. I found Factor is great for a quick lunch or if I'm running late and wind up looking around for dinner late at night. Down below in the description is a link to help support the show and save yourself 60% off your first Factor box using code SpawnWave60. That's code SpawnWave60 to get 60% off your first Factor box. Thanks again to Factor for sponsoring tonight's show. Been a longtime supporter of the channel, so make sure you guys check them out. Let's go over to the Direct, because it was an interesting show. It's a little over 40 minutes long, and I feel like a lot of people going into this I don't think they even had high expectations necessarily, because I feel like we had an idea of what we were going to see, but Nintendo still surprised some people here. I have this brought up from Nintendo Life. I think it's everything. I feel like it's kind of in order as well as I'm looking through this. So we'll start with the first announcement. They had Pikmin 4. Not a new announcement necessarily, but we did get the release date, July 21st, and I believe this is the latest game for 2023. Like in terms of releases in 2023, this is the last one they have dated right now for July 21st. Good spot for Pikmin 4, I think. Summer feels like a good summer game, right? It's very bright, colorful. That makes a lot of sense to me. I don't know if you guys are big Pikmin fans. I've never been a huge over the top Pikmin fan, but I did like it on the GameCube.
I beat him. I beat him on GameCube, and I beat the Wii versions. I like him. I kind of wish we'd see more gameplay. This trailer was like 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes. I kind of wish we saw more running around and a little bit less cutscenes. Like I want to see what makes this different, because so far it just looks like, hey, it's another Pikmin.
You see the dog? The dog gameplay?
There's a dog.
That's the only the dog, and
The dog makes it way better, because I was like, I'm not on Pikmin. I don't like Pikmin, but then they added a dog, and then I'm like, all right.
I do like that
there.
you could get your little Pikmin on the dog and piggyback around. I was like, okay, that does look pretty good.
Dog. That's the only thing that if they didn't have the dog, I would have been like, okay, I'm done.
Xenoblade Chronicles 3 got the expansion pass DLC.
Oh.
How you feeling, OJ?
I'm feeling like I almost had a meltdown.
Yeah.
It was exactly what I didn't say what I thought of, but that's what I thought. I said the founders, how Ionios is built, and what happens with Alvis, and Shulk is there, and Rex. Oh my God, look at Rex. Oh my goodness gracious. My man
He beat some Factor. There we go.
Yeah. he was hitting the weights, man. He was hitting the weights. I mean, when you have two women like that, you know, good things happen to you, right? good things happen to you. So it was great to see what the setup is for that. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be. But it looks like it's even going to be more interesting because it looks like you're going to be playing as maybe a descendant of the main character Noah.
Are they just kind of tying everything together here?
They are putting everything together. So for those who don't know, Alvis, the guy that they saw that Shulk and Rex were looking up to, he is essentially like the mainframe computer that puts together the world of Xenoblade. Because Xenoblade 1 and 2 are happening at the exact same time. When you kill the final person in Xenoblade 2, Shulk is killing in Xenoblade 1, the Zanza, like he's fighting. So it happens at the same time. Everything's good. Then eventually Alvis, who was the basically mainframe computer that was beamed to the world from there, essentially seems like he goes rogue. He goes rogue or something happens to where he says, screw you guys. And that's how, and it shows the fight of how those two worlds merge together. And Shulk and Rex are there saying like, what the hell is happening? That's why they're surprised. Rex doesn't know who he is, like, who the hell is this? But Shulk is like, why are you doing this? You know what I'm saying? Because Alvis helps Shulk throughout the whole Xenoblade 1. That's essentially what happens there. And then it transitions, it seems like prequel, then into more prequel territory with somebody that's a descendant either from the main villain N, who's the same person as Noah, or Noah's grandson, one of the previous ones. So in terms of that person that you saw, but that's not the main character from Xenoblade 3 that you saw at the end. It's not exactly him. It's a descendant from his, or it's something like that. So anyway, yes, it's extremely exciting for Xenoblade fans.
We have Samba de Amigo, Party Central.
I'm
Going
kind
back
of
to the Dreamcast days.
the only Samba de Amigo fan, but hell yes, more.
Yeah, the
dancing
maracas.
monkeys. I do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, good, good.
I actually had to import the American maracas are worth like $700 or something insane for Dreamcast. So I bought the European version, which costs $100.
See, then we had Fashion Dreamer, Dead Cells Return to Castlevania,
Hell yeah, that trailer was great.
Tron Identity, Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. There was, by the way, a trademark that I remember we saw a little while ago for Ghost Trick. I think it's a good idea to bring that one to the Switch because that just got completely overlooked on what was it, on the DS, and then it was on iOS, I think, too.
Yeah, it's coming to PS4, it's coming to Xbox and PC, I think. So yeah, Ghost Trick, it's good. It's fun.
It's a very weird game, but hey, it gets a shot here, right? It gets to go to basically as many people as it can, and I'll be curious. Maybe some people will check it out and they'll get some love for a very unique title. I'll say that.
Yes, very weird. I never knew what was going on in that game when I was playing it, but I'm like, I think I like this. I wasn't sure if I liked it or not, but I beat the game and I'm like, at the end of the game, I was like, I think I like this. I wasn't sure if I liked the game or not, but it's a game. It's there, and if you want something interesting, play it.
Deca Police. This was a bit of a surprise for me on this one. It was level 5, which level 5 had a nice little showing here, actually. This is a crime suspense RPG. It looked pretty cool, actually. Like, I'm going with this. I'm like, oh, this is a little surprising from level 5 because level 5, I feel like they were on life support almost.
They were. They got rid of their American branch. They couldn't get out Inazuma. Yokai Watch flopped. You know, like they were on life support. There hasn't been any new Laytons. Like it was out of nowhere. They literally used this to come back. And I'm so happy for them because that team works hard, man. They were used to be considered premier. Dark Cloud, Nino Kuni, these were like premier RPGs out there in the PS2 and PS3 eras. So to see them come back like this is great.
It's interesting because it looks like they have the key art shows almost like two worlds with a reflection there. So I don't know if there's almost like a cyberspace world stuff going on too.
There is a virtual world, like a Deca world, that's essentially an exact same copy as the actual world, but you can go through things in depth. Like you can go through like what happened in the past, anything to look up crimes and to solve them to who actually did this. So it's just like it's like a virtual world, but far more in depth with access to every bit of memories and information that happened. Then you have to use that to solve the crimes of who did that. Then it goes into like the open world showdowns with other stuff, but it's also coming to PS5, PS4 too as well. PS5, PS4, and Switch. So that's awesome too.
Okay. Bayonetta Origins. I feel like we've seen this a couple times already now, but that's going to March 17th. So we're a month out for Bayonetta Origins. Splatoon 3 DLC. That's not really shocking to see that, but they just show what Inkopolis, and then there was a strange teaser at the end. I don't know if that was supposed to be for story content or story DLC, maybe.
So
It looked like it, yeah.
yeah, when they asked us to vote on you want chaos or you want order, there was like that Splatfest and all that, and chaos won. So now this is going to be the other side, the order side of it, and stuff that happens there. So essentially, they're just adding that whole side of the order universe as DLC. So we'll see how it works out.
Okay. Interesting enough. Let's see. Fire Emblem Engage expansion pass.
Yes.
OJ, excited for this?
Yes, I played all three. I beat Soren's, I beat Camilla, and I beat Hector. And yeah, if you've played those games, that's from Fire Emblem, Path of Radiance, Fire Emblem, Binding Blade, one with Lynn's game, or Blazing Blade. I always forget them mixed up. And then of course Camilla's from Fire Emblem Fates, and they're all really good. They're all really good in terms of the how you can use the emblem characters. I really like Soren. I think he's a complete douchebag, and then it starts reminding you, like when he starts talking, about how much of an asshole he is. He has no problem like sacrificing his teammates to get the job done, and you can literally do that as one of his skills. Like you can make it to where the enemies will target one person.
Jesus.
So it's great. Soren, he's a great sorcerer. He's a great, like, so if you have like a magic user, you can put him on there. So Hector's really good at defense, better than Ike. So yeah, I liked that. I liked the maps. They were fun. Took me about 2 hours a pop to beat each one of those because I'm playing on hard classic. But no, it was fun, and they it just adds to the different like strategies that you can use, especially if you're playing on hard or maddening, and also for the DLC that's coming out later. So yeah, I enjoyed that. And then Crom and Robin are coming later, so that's also cool too, and Veronica as well.
In Harmony, the Fall of Reverie. That's June. Disney Illusion Island. I think we saw that at Marvel's showcase. And then we had Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp, April 21st. So yeah, it did get that full 1 year delay. I feel like they were probably thinking we can't delay this much longer. It's just get it out there.
Never gonna come out.
Yeah, I mean the 1 year delay. All right, fine. It's still, I'm still looking forward to it. It's just getting a year later than we were kind of expecting. But I mean, I guess it also works into their 2023 schedule overall, to where they, I mean, almost have a release, I guess, almost every single month up until they get to Pikmin 4. So that just kind of slots in nicely in April. Octopath Traveler 2, that got a demo. It's out actually for less than 2 weeks now it'll be out. Yeah, but the demo is out now. I downloaded on the PlayStation. So far I haven't had a chance to play it.
Yeah, it transfers over to the main game too, and it looks incredible on the PS5. It looks really great. Obviously looks great on Switch too. You could play it there. Portable play is good because it's a turn-based RPG, but it's the first time that it's been on PlayStation for
right.
Yeah, this is the first one. I do think it was a mistake to not port Octopath 1 to PS4.
Yeah, that's weird.
I think that was a
mistake, but you know, hey, it's a new story, guys. So even if you didn't play it, you're on PlayStation and you didn't play it, it's a new story. It's not like it's, it's a sequel in that sense. There will be ties back, just like Bravely Default 1 to Bravely Default 2, for example. But it shouldn't really be anything to where you have to know everything that happens in Octopath 1. So if you're skeptical on that, still try out the demo. Transfers over to the main game if you're on PS4 or PS5 or PC or whatever the case. No, the game's on PC, so if you can play it there. But yeah. It's great. It's really good.
We Love Katamari reroll. Hey, you know what? I'll pick up We Love Katamari. Absolutely. Why not?
I have those games and have not played them. I have the.
They're a fun little like time sink game. I don't know. They're fun.
I played one on the PS. I have the one on the Switch, but I played the one on like PS2 or something like that.
It was on the PS2. Yep, I remember playing it actually. Yep, I did the same thing back in the day, and then I remember I went back and got it later on. Like I actually bought it because it's just such a weird game. Like it's just so unique, but they're fun. They're fun games. Sea of Stars. All right, so Sea of Stars has a demo as well. I downloaded. I didn't get a chance to play it yet. I really want to play it though. I might actually play this one before I play Octopath, to be honest.
Yeah, it's really good. I like the demo. Once again, it's fun. The combat system is unique. They just kind of throw you in there, okay. Yeah, they just throw you in. They just throw you in there. And then like you can I think you do like a fight or so, and then like you go do like a little. Then there's like one story mission, and then the demo cuts. So it's and like if you want to know how to play, like you can just look into the options, but there's no tutorial. So they just throw you in there.
Yeah, it's coming out August 29th, so we're like 6 months off from it, but it's looked good every time they've shown it. So I'm excited to get it.
I've been following anybody who has a Twitter account. Follow the Sea of Stars Twitter account. They're constantly tweeting out gameplay because I mean they know the game looks fantastic, so they just show like a random battle every day.
I got to give them some pointers though. That overworld map, that man, they walking super slow. I see what they're trying to do because it looks just like Chrono Trigger in terms of how they're.
Yeah,
it's just, oh man, they walking slow. Like, so you got to tell them, hey, speed that up. But
I mean, free to play game Omega Strikers looks kind of soccer, air hockey. I don't know. It's a free to play game, and what's weird is they were like, it's a free to play game. Pre-order start today.
Yeah,
you know, I don't get it.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
Pre-order start today on a
pre-ordering a free game.
Anyway, it's out April 27th. I sure. Okay, there you go. I don't know. It didn't look that interesting to me.
You might like it because it's like Windjammers, but like
nah, it's missing a lot that Windjammers has.
Yeah, I mean it's free to play, so at the very least, technically just try it and see what you think. But
throws up the flag right there. Throw the flag right there when you see free to play. Yeah. I knew.
Yeah.
Etrian Odyssey Origins, June 1st. This is a pack of the 3 Etrian Odyssey games in HD, dungeon crawlers, and you can also buy them separately. So that was a nice little surprise to see just kind of thrown in there.
Yeah, Etrian Odyssey's been gone since the 3DS died.
Yeah.
Like there's been nothing. So that's cool for the fans of Etrian Odyssey. Although, the map system, like that's gonna be interesting.
Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. That's out again in like 2 weeks. They showed some new content at the end of the game, epilogue. So that's cool. That's good at least that they decided to put something like new in there along with it, of course, being a remake of the game from the Wii. And I'll admit there were some peaks and valleys in this direct, and I feel like right about now, after they showed like Kirby and Etrian Odyssey, just for the general public, there's probably kind of a lull here. And okay, then they got moving because right away, okay, here's the Nintendo Switch Online, Game Boy, and Game Boy Advance.
Yes, the best news ever.
It's interesting. There was I saw people really excited about this, right? And I feel like people saw this one coming anyway. Like eventually they were going to announce Game Boy and Game Boy Advance, and they announced it. People could just like jumped out of their seats, and then they showed some of the games, and they had, what do they have? 6 Game Boy Advance and like 7 Game Boy games? 9
okay.
Game Boy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm looking through them, and these are pretty good. Like the setup they have for them with the different filters, pocket, color, regular. They have like the weird pixel kind of look to it to make it look like the Game Boy Color screen. I mean, it's good. It's more value for Nintendo Switch Online. I fired up a couple of the games. Like Mario Kart is still terrible in the Game Boy Advance, but
I will not hear this slander.
It was the first time we had it portably, and that's why we let it go.
I like it unironically. I don't know, man. I'm super obsessed with the Game Boy. I literally keep a Game Boy on my desk at all times and stuff. I've got a Game Boy wallet. I have like a massive Game Boy collection. So we kind of thought it was coming, but the fact that it's here, they play so great. Like that's my biggest thing is that it's great emulation. The sound is fantastic. I've been playing Tetris like literally an hour every single day. It's bonkers that it's here. And the Game Boy Advance games, the fact that they showed, like, I love this trailer because they said, hey, here's the games you have already, which are great. And here's the games that are coming soon, including freaking Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons coming to Game Boy Color. And for Game Boy Advanced, they showed Golden Sun, which I feel like is one of the most demanded freaking retro games to come back. Like, I don't know. This was a 10 out of 10 trailer.
And Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem and Metroid Fusion, which is still my favorite Metroid. Ooh.
Yeah, Fusion's in there. I think that the cool thing, I'm not as big on, the classic stuff that I've already played. Although I haven't played a lot of GBA. Like I did not play a ton of games, so I'm excited to get into the GBA stuff. But I think that the fact that they actually had Game Boy on the regular NSO was cool, right? Because like then it's like, well, wait a minute, hold up. I didn't know I thought everything was gonna be added only to the expansion, but then they added Game Boy to the regular NSO. So if you have that for the 20, you can still play. You can play Super Nintendo, you can play NES, and also Game Boy. So I think it's just because of how bad like the service was when it launched, right? Everybody was making videos, everybody was complaining about it. It wasn't a very good service. And then where we came from when they first started it up until this point, still not perfect, still not necessarily like ideal in every single way, right? We'd love to have GameCube, we'd love to have more games, we'd love to have more of like a set schedule and maybe more per a month, you know? So it's definitely not perfect. There'll be some things that I'd like to improve, but I think that the fact that it's just come so far, you know, now we have multiple different systems and it's just like all boots up, and like Dreamcast guy said, like the emulation is perfect. A lot of people like to talk about the Wii U Virtual Console. That thing, the Virtual Console on there was trash. Like the emulation was so hit and miss on the Wii U. You know, Wii was okay, Wii was better, but the Wii U was so hit and miss. So now we actually have it to where the emulation's good. So I think that's the reason why people are excited, because these games are just they feel like there's value there. Wait a minute, I pay this and I can just play all this right now. You know, more so than me going and individually buying each one. So I think that's why people get super excited about this stuff. Almost like, you know, people like with Game Pass, right? Like when you just see a game that's on there, it's like, oh wow, I can just play that, right? But now it's like the classic games, like maybe your favorites that you grew up with when you were a kid or whatever, you know?
We did actually have a few Discord questions based on specifically the Game Boy announcements. Like based on the Nintendo Direct, what kind of Game Boy games do you want on NSO? So is there like any other ones past what they've shown?
The obvious answer is that they get Mother 3 on there.
Bowser.
That's the obvious answer, because they don't. I've thought about this a bit. I had a video I was going to talk about some of the stuff in it just in general, but the thing that's interesting about their Nintendo Switch Online is they're not technically selling Mother 3. It's just part of the subscription. They just put it in there. And I know they're trying to avoid controversy with it, but it's like they're not putting it on their eShop. It doesn't exist on the eShop then. So I feel like if they were going to do it, but like half do it, that might be how. Just be like, here's this ROM we translated years ago. We're just gonna drop it in. We can take it away at any time, but it's gonna go in here. Here you go.
I think do you think it really scares them, especially with all this, like, you know, the Hogwarts stuff that's came up? I think maybe it really might scare them a lot, man. But I think they should just do it. Like, just
the other two
rip
are
that
there.
Band-Aid off.
Just drop it. Just drop it on there. Yeah, I feel like most people be like, you know, it's Mother 3. We asked for this.
You know, I just feel that they just should do it. I get there's some insensitive stuff in there. Like I get it, you know, but I mean, come on.
Essentially, they could do what some games have done, and I actually think it's great, is just pop up a tiny box at the start that say this was made in a different time period. Some of the jokes and stuff have not aged the best, because it is still a good game, and I think it still definitely deserves to be played.
It's like about the beginning of the game, like a box just pops up and just says, "Hey, you know." Like,
yeah, it's like
that makes the situation worse. Like people start hyper focusing on it then if they do something like that. Just honest question.
Well, I mean, a lot of Netflix has a lot of like old, I'm going to put the biggest air quotes, offensive movies on there, and they always just pop up little box that say, hey, there's some jokes in here that at the time were much more acceptable, like, but hey, we think it still deserves to be watched, so here you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I say you just drop it on there and move along.
You don't say anything. Like you would want to just don't say anything. Just drop it on there. Like, all right.
I kind of feel like you just drop it and move. Just like, oh, here's Mother 3 along with Metroid Zero or something else.
So
throw
let
in.
me ask you a question. So then, like, what's the response if they say, like, if you get one of these people that like to write articles and say that Hogwarts is 1 out of 10 because of this, and this, because of how hateful, blah blah blah. So then, what's the response to that? You leave it alone, or you don't say anything, or what do you do?
If I'm Nintendo, I'd probably just leave it alone and just chalk up to Twitter. I mean, I don't know what else you could do, really. It's
let them get their clicks and make their money.
Well, if they change anything in the game, it might be viewed as worse. So it's like,
I'm not saying change it. They're not going to change the game at all. They're not going to change because that would require development time, right? So that would require them actually.
Yeah. You know what they could do? They could put it on the Switch Online and just not translate it. It's just keep it in Japanese. Just like, here you go.
Good luck, everyone else.
Good luck.
All right, I got my list here. Let me throw out a couple. Okay, definitely. Okay. I want. Oh man, let's get Mega Man 5, Mario Golf from Game Boy Color is actually amazing. Let's get some freaking Japanese translated games. Let's get stuff like there's a really good Star Ocean game that did not come to America. Let's get that translated. Shantae, of course. Rayman, Pokemon trading card game. I don't know. There's a bunch.
Pokemon Trading Card Game is going to go there. That
Yeah,
was one
they
of the
did say
ones.
it
Yeah, I
was
saw that. I
Yep.
saw that.
But they could take the second one that never came over and translate that.
I have that translated here on this. Yeah, and it's fantastic. I think a weird specific one I would definitely request Tetris DX. Now, the only difference between Tetris and normal and Tetris DX, the color is better. There's a moving background, and something I actually like. Tetris DX actually has save data, so Tetris DX let you count your total number of lines. I've played this so much every single day. My Tetris DX has thousands and thousands of lines. Small gripe. I wish we had this version on that service instead.
I would like to see them maybe get together with Konami and get Metal Gear Solid from the Game Boy Color on there. That would be pretty cool. And you know what's interesting is, it's too bad Nate's not here. He could elaborate on this a bit more. But there's reason to believe that transfer pack support is coming, and that they're going to tie the N64 and the Game Boy stuff together.
You see, it's just close enough for it to actually show.
And
the green screening.
People were wondering where Pokemon is. I think the Pokemon company is going to announce that on their own, like in their own, like a Pokemon Direct is probably coming in the next couple of weeks. We'll say
that is any reason Nintendo would avoid Pokemon on launch.
I think that's the Pokemon company who would announce that, and they're going to pick maybe 2 games, if that, maybe 1. I don't know. I mean, they could just throw yellow on there and be like, there you go. They could also do green, and they could be weird. They could do like green and red or blue or something, you know?
I seriously think it's going to be yellow and crystal, because yellow and crystal are just so much better.
Okay. So that's the thing. I think they're going to pick, and they're going to drop it themselves.
GBA, are they going to do any GBA Pokemon? That would be really, like Fire Red or Leaf Green. Like
that would be cool.
lit.
Emerald, baby. For GBA, there's a million. My biggest thing with GBA, because we still don't have, I know we're about to get the Pixel remasters, but I have a real soft spot for the original Final Fantasy IV, Final Fantasy V, Final Fantasy VI that they put on Game Boy, or Dawn of Souls, which had extra dungeons, which are fucking terrible. Put those on there. Put it on there.
I'd like to see that, Max.
Great,
but I feel like
terrible.
Square. I feel like Square, because they were like chopping down the old Final Fantasy games on Steam and stuff. I kind of feel like they're gonna try to make it so you have to buy like their $18 version of it or something, or whatever it is, you know. That would be a perfect world though to get those on that. I will say maybe they'll give us Tactics Advance. I don't know. That could be there,
dude. I did a full master file of that last year. Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced has aged so good,
and we got to get Pokemon Pinball. That's got to be on there.
Pinball.
Yep. And I'm gonna say, just to mess with the scalpers, Ninja 5-0. That game's like $300 for no reason.
If we're throwing what's that Super Android? What is it called? Super Robot Pinball? It's like I've played that for the first time. That's fantastic. That's like one of those weird import only Game Boy games. That's fantastic.
Cool. Is if they got together with Rare and they got Perfect Dark, N64, and Game Boy to drop together. That'd be cool.
I had
transfer pack support for it.
Perfect Dark on the Game Boy, the cartridge actually had a speaker on it, and whenever you played a mission, the speaker would talk to you. So instead of coming out of the Game Boy speaker, so I think it'd be funny if they put in some weird functionality like that.
Some of the Game Boy games had Rumble, so they could like play that into the HD Rumble on the Switch too. Like Perfect Dark had Rumble.
Yeah, Pokemon game had Rumble too. Right?
Yeah, it did. Yeah,
I remember playing that and just being, because I like pinball. Like I used to go to the arcades and I'd be the dude playing the pinball machine.
Pinball is awesome.
Yeah. Oh, it was great. But like the Simpsons pinball machine. So I like pinball, and I like Metroid. I like the Metroid pinball game, and I like the Pokemon pinball game. There was supposed to be another Pokemon pinball game. You guys know that?
No, they canceled it.
Yeah, it got canceled.
Oh, man,
it got canceled. But yeah, there was supposed to be another Pokemon pinball game, but it ended up getting canceled. The same thing that made the first one.
I did write down Legacy of Goku games, just even though the licensing is ridiculous. I just wrote it down anyway. I put it into existence. Okay, there you go. We'll see. But a lot of possibilities. I think that's why people are so excited as well, is because kind of woke people up to all the possibilities of those libraries all of a sudden. So
well, these games look and play great. Like freaking anybody who just thinks that the not Final Fantasy, the Super Mario Brothers 3 on Game Boy Advanced actually has like 50 brand new, freshly created levels that are super hard and great. I mean, this is what gets me most excited, is the weird, obscure Game Boy Advanced functionality. They actually rolled it in. That's brilliant.
I hated that e-reader stuff back in the day, man. Like
I
we all
did it.
thought, like this was trash back then. I remember thinking to myself, what is all? Because I was already old when that came out. So I'm like, what is all this e-reading cables? I'm like, come on, man. So I never did any of that.
I thought it was cool, but the weirdest thing that nobody realizes is now you had to have 2 Game Boy Advances. You put the e-reader in one, and you'd put your game in the other, and then link cable out of the top of the e-reader into your other. And then when you swiped cards, it would do stuff in the game.
Listen,
Insane.
I was not the best in science growing up back in the day. I was not a science person. You know, that just seems like you need to know all sorts of. You
need a bachelor's degree to get this to work.
Like science and all this different type of building and construction. I don't know.
The last question on this part is, how long do you think until Nintendo drip feeds the next batch of Game Boy games?
That's when would they drop the next batch? Well, it is a February. I mean, maybe March they'd put a Game Boy and a Game Boy Advance game out. They just pick one from each side. So maybe a Zelda Oracle. Which one comes first, Ages or Seasons? Or they drop at the same time?
They'll drop into the same time.
Okay.
Well, you have to.
Okay. Well, for the advanced side, maybe they just pick a Golden Sun or a Fire Emblem or something. It's like, here you go. And maybe next month though, in March, like 3rd week of March or something. So, and then maybe the month after that, they give us a Game Boy, or they give us an N64 and a Super Nintendo. It's like they can start jumping around now pretty freely.
Dude, so, I love it. I'm actually excited for Nintendo Switch Online service, like genuinely, which has been a while.
So they rolled from the Game Boy and the Game Boy Advance immediately into Metroid Prime Remastered, it's interesting. They had like this block of announcements all of a sudden that was like, all right, now we're really moving here in the last like 10 minutes. That's all that was left. It was 10 minutes. Like, all right, now we're gonna get moving. And we have a whole section here for Metroid Prime Remastered on its own. But the Shadow Drop, we can speak on that for a minute here. I did not expect that at all. I mean, this game's been rumored to be done for a while. Jeff Grubb cut his hair because it didn't get announced last year, but they definitely could have announced this last year and been like, okay, it's out in February. Like Bowser's Fury got announced and they said, okay, it's out at the beginning of the year, February, right? Yeah, next year. They could have announced Remastered in, I don't know, their direct last year, whenever they had one, and been like, okay, yeah, it's out next year. But they didn't. They decided to do a digital Shadow Drop and then make everyone buy it twice because they know they got Metroid fans for an $80 game, basically. Metroid fans are buying it digitally and they're buying it physically. That's the way it goes.
Genius.
But I will say I was one of the people who was like, you know what? I'd rather have it now than wait till the 22nd.
Oh yeah.
In all my hype, I'm like, yeah, I go buy the game. And I'm like, oh wait, Nintendo sends me games, and then they sent me one. But I was so hyped, I just went out there and bought the physical, the digital edition of the game. I didn't even think. They're like, hey, you want a code? I'm like, yeah, but I already bought it.
Big publishers out there. We had the Hi-Fi Rush drop. We got the Metroid Prime Remastered drop. Keep doing it. I like the shadow drops of these bigger games. Go ahead, Max.
It's so exciting. I'll be honest. When that trailer started, I was so into it, but I figured they would say like in 2 weeks, Metroid comes back. I thought it was going to be something like that. And then at the end, they were like, hey, it's going to be up in 1 hour on the eShop. I ended up playing it and reviewing it, and my review blew up thanks to everybody that liked it and stuff. But it's got to be legitimately the best looking Switch game I've ever seen. Like, maybe I'm just being hyperbolic, but like the rain effects, the world effects, the fact that your gun glows, everything. Like, it's the best looking Switch game I've ever seen, and it's a remaster. It's insane.
Yeah, we'll come back to Metroid Prime Remastered here, but let me go over to Baten Kaitos. 1 and 2 HD Remaster, another trademark that we saw pop up.
Oh my
and
God.
Even a rumor, there was a report that came out that was like, okay, they're definitely remastering the first one. The second one might be part of it. The second one, it ends up being both, which is really cool. Summer 2023.
Yeah.
Those real Baten Kaitos fans finally eating good.
Yes, kind of like eating pretty good. There's some things with it. A few things with it that you guys need to know. So there is a physical edition coming. So that's good. But it seems like they're kind of skimping on cart size. They don't want it to be too high because there's no English dub in the game. Only Japanese VA. Now there's some good, and I wish MVG was here, or maybe one of you guys can answer this. Is that MVG? It's not MVG. It's probably Nate. Or is it RGT? I don't know.
That's an RTG. That's an RGT exploit right there. Like,
Okay, RGT's here, but so he won't know what I'm talking about. But so Bots and Kaitos, great that it's coming back. It's an awesome game. Story's fantastic.
I do know about Bats and Kaitos.
You don't know
No, but
shit.
you don't. You do not know about Bots and Kaitos.
He's like, I'm
on
Googling it right now.
No, I remember it from back in the GameCube days. I never played it. My best friend.
I know
did.
you never played it.
I gotta
It's
add Sean
cards.
now.
I don't do cards.
Hey, Sean, I will give Sean this. He's keeping up with what he said because I was going to call him on the Midnight Sun stuff immediately, but he's keeping up with it. I'll give him that.
Yeah, I'm consistent. I don't like card shit.
But the game says because look, it's going to be physical. It's like 8 gigabytes. So it looks like they're going with the 8 gigabyte card, right? So they're trying to cheap out on that. Maybe you would have pushed it above that, so then it's more expensive. So that's why there's no English VO in the game, which is I think that's a mistake, but whatever. But the game says 1080p, 30 frames per second, cool, right? Remaster, stabilize everything because that game had frame drops like a mother bleep, right? But 2K, up to 2K resolution supports. So I'm wondering, like, I've never heard about that. So that's what I wanted to ask MVG or maybe Spawn. Do you know anything about this 2K resolution?
2K resolution, is that what they said?
Yeah, I swear to you, it's in the FAQ.
Well, 2K is referred to for 1920. So
Well,
that'd be 1080p, right?
Yeah, it's like the
But why
step
are they
above.
saying
It's
that
like
on top of
1440p
1080p?
or something.
I don't know why they're saying that. That's weird.
Okay. Yeah, it was super weird. That's why I wanted to ask MVG or maybe John, but like, it's just weird. They usually say if it's 1080p, just 1080p. What's up with supports up to 2K?
1440p. People say 1440p.
Yeah,
I don't know why
1440.
I don't know why you say 2K and not just like, oh, it's 1440. I don't know. Maybe it's down sampling or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Are there any Switch games that do that?
I don't know. That's a weird way to go about it.
Yeah, super weird.
Anyway, that's a strange thing for that, but there you go. Bat and Kaitos. Good to have Sean here, though. By the way, returning to the show
Sean?
after everything going down. Good to have.
I
Sean
know
out here.
the Knicks just won. It was a great game. Josh Hart, the newest Knick, played phenomenal. It was very.
Oh, you weren't going to come by if the Knicks lost, were you?
No, I was gonna go to bed. 'Cause I'm exhausted. There's all these fucking medicines they have me on. I'm
Where are the
tired.
Knicks at in terms of position? I haven't looked at
I believe now they're tied for 6th with the Heat. No, the Heat won last night. The Heat are up half a game to 7th.
Not bad. Not bad.
You missed the Hogwarts Legacy talk.
Great game.
There you go. Heard it here. We're rolling through the. You did not miss. You have not missed the Metroid Prime talk, and you have not missed the $70 Zelda talk yet.
John,
You
real
might be
quick,
able to.
just so I can get this, like the exact what they said. Screen resolution, TV mode at 920, or sorry, at 1920 by 1080.
Yeah.
Then it has a little asterisk that says works at up to 2K resolution. It's just so weird. You see what I'm saying? How they put that? It's 1080p, and then
That
2K
makes it sound
resolution.
like if you try to run it through a 4K TV, you just won't see it. Like it's just not gonna work.
I don't know what they're talking. Anyway, that's it.
Is it Switch exclusive or is it multi like Tales of Symphonia?
It's a Switch exclusive because Nintendo owns like some of the licensing or something like that. With the game, it's
Yeah, they
weird.
own one of them. I think one of
Yeah.
the two they own, like the
Yeah, one of the
publishing
two
from.
Yeah, published. So that's why it's only on Switch.
Let's see. We have Fantasy Life I, Girl Who Steals Time, 2023. Never been into Fantasy Life.
Never been into it either.
Huh.
I own it, and I played the first one, and I thought it was all right, but I mean, I'm not really into those type of games.
Yeah.
Professor Layton and the New World of Steam, 2023. Hey, level 5, still they're back. They're back. I never got into the Professor Layton games either. Should I check them out?
Roger,
Are they
good?
They're all right.
They're okay.
I like them a lot. They're really goofy. If you because we're adults, they're definitely kid puzzle games. There's like a hint system for kids. A lot of it's really basic logic puzzles with some number puzzles, or like you have 6 rubber bands, you have to connect 3 circuits. They're surprisingly fun, and they do have like really wholesome, interesting stories. They're not great, but I think especially if you have a modded 3DS, definitely play them.
Okay. Good enough. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Wave 4 DLC. It's a brand new track, and they also added Birdo.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
That was weird.
Well, and they said that they're gonna add in more new characters.
Yeah. What is that about?
I am done with Mario Kart 8, man.
I think a lot of people are
Never going to be
Mario
done.
Kart.
Wait till Booster Course 2 gets announced.
All this stuff looks really cool, but there's
Booster Course 2 going to be cross-gen.
Those new maps actually kind of suck. I played them on the treadmill today. I played all the new courses from the newer booster packs. I think they kind of suck, actually.
I haven't played it.
They have eBaseball Power Pros. This was released by Konami, and they put it out there for $1. And the idea is to try to introduce, I believe, the Western audience to this baseball game that's apparently good in Japan.
It's very popular in Japan. That franchise has been around for
never played
very long. I haven't either. I've just seen it all the time, and it seems very popular in Japan.
It's $1. Interesting. Might be worth the gold coins because I have some stocked up just to see. I don't know. It's $1. And then we had The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. A trailer that just revealed everything. It might as well have just spoiled the whole thing for us. We know too much about the game now.
Why did we go from that? Why didn't we talk about Metroid first?
What? No, we have Metroid as its own section. So we have 2 more topics after this. It's Metroid and then the $70 thing. So
well, if you're going to talk about Zelda, you should have let in with the $70 and talked about Zelda.
Well, what do we think of the trailer? Because it looked like they had the Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts stuff going on.
I don't think it was that Banjo-Kazooie. I thought it would look really good. It was nice to see actual gameplay, to get a better understanding, see the different enemy types. I wanted to see what was going to be different than Breath of the Wild. You know, how they were going to take the same engine and basically diversify and expand upon it. And I feel like they did a pretty good job, you know, making me, you know, curious about what else, you know, because obviously they're just going to show what they want to show. They just want to tease you a little bit. But you know, if that's the stuff that they were willing to show, it's like, well, what's the stuff that you're not willing to show? Yeah, like I think it's gonna be yet again another awesome game.
I'm excited for it for sure. I mean, I only watched the trailer. I watched the trailer twice, once during the Nintendo Direct and once again later. I haven't watched any lore breakdowns or anything, but I'm definitely kind of curious just to see those flying mechanics. I'm so curious. It's one of those games that I see it and I'm like, all right, I want to play it right now. I want to buy it right now. Like I don't want to see any more trailers. I'll watch them if they come out. But it's one of those games where I'm like, all right, I'm sold. I've got 90 seconds of running around and punching bogoblins. Give it to me right now.
The crazy thing, like they did show some of the underground area because there's going to be like a whole underground dungeon labyrinth thingy or whatever they're going to do. So that was cool that they didn't show too much of that, but they've shown a little bit of that before. They showed the sky areas, which is cool, the vehicles that you can do, but I think there's still so much that we don't know, especially compared to like how Link is like prehistoric Link or whatever the hell Toga Link, whatever you want to call him, between that Link and then of course the Link here. So people are lore videos talk about future. There's 2 different ones. You can transfer back and forth between them. There's certain technology that's available in one world compared to the other. So I mean, like, I don't know how it's going to all connect and how everything's going to look, but I mean, they're clearly holding back a ton. But I think that it was cool that they showed off the different enemy variety. I think that was the thing that got me the most, was how there was the Re-Deads in there. You know, from Ocarina of Time, there was all sorts of different types of flying enemies, and they also showed some like custom weapons, like where you're going to be able to modify your weapons, because that's not a typical weapon to where you just be able to shoot and it just flies straight up to the enemy. So that's what I liked. I saw the fact that we saw enemy variety, because that was an issue in Breath of the Wild, and then of course weapons stuff. How are they going to handle that? So it looks like you're going to be able to customize your weapons in this game. So you could fix your weapon if it's getting down to be broken. You can fix it this time around because you'll be able to have attachments or do stuff. So that was cool too.
Let me look at some of the super chats here. First, though, what do we think of the Direct overall? How we feel for it?
10 out of 10.
It was the first little bit. I was like, and then they got into like, okay, we're gonna do this little section for RGT here, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. You saved it. This is amazing. I love it.
Xenoblade. You didn't see Shulk? You love Xenoblade. You love Xenoblade. What?
I don't. Xenoblade roguelike. Like that's my fucking.
No, what about
dream right
Shulk?
there.
Don't you know about Shulk and Elvis, right?
I don't care about DLCs.
Okay. The truth comes out.
Yo, we were 25. We were like 25 minutes in, and I was like, I gotta see what Sean's video is gonna be after this one.
It was rough. And then they were like, hey, here's some Game Boy, here's some Game Boy Advance, and here's Metroid Prime Remaster, all dropping tonight. And I was like, great, you did it, you bastards.
Yep. So it was I think definitely is a very strong last like 15 minutes of the whole thing, but yeah, it was good. A solid B, I think, for me.
I would say an A-.
See, I would say higher if Nintendo revealed like new games, kind of. Because I was going through, I'm like, what brand new game did they announce here? Because we had the
First
release
party
dates for
or-
Pikmin. Yeah, from them.
Okay,
Like,
first
because
party.
it seems pretty clear. I think a lot of people realize this. They're like, oh, I think Nintendo might be developing for next gen now, with some of the reveals they have, right? With the remaster for Metroid, and like they showed release date for Pikmin, another Tears of the Kingdom trailer.
I mean, that's been clear for a while.
Yeah, but like this direct, I think
Yeah,
solidified it for a lot of people, and I'm like,
Totally
yeah,
been
they had some
clear.
good third party stuff there, which is cool, like
Oh,
Back
yeah,
and all that, and
Deca, dude, that Deca Police game.
Deca Police.
Yeah.
Is
But,
that
like,
a multi-platform game?
Yeah, it's not Xbox though,
Okay.
unfortunately.
it's like PlayStation, Switch, yeah. But
Yeah.
I was like, it probably would go into A territory if they had something like big from, like if it brand new 3D Mario or something in there. I'd be like, you know what? Hey, they had some big titles here across the board. I'd be like, well, I can't.
Prime
Say my-
remaster out of 10.
I bet if I could completely throw out a random speculation, I bet that there's probably a cut of this direct where they did talk about Metroid Prime 4, because something about that Metroid Prime remaster felt like it was going to lead into something Prime 4, but maybe they were just like, okay, we don't want to tease you with another like logo reveal, so I bet they're going to wait for later.
I will say this: I think we're on the road for Prime 4. I think we're seeing it this year.
I think it's this year as well.
Yeah, they're gonna show it off this year, and they also they made a portal site to where it's all about Metroid. So you can go there. It's brand new portal site, shows off Metroid Prime Remastered, Metroid Dread, the Game Boy Metroid. So they're gearing up to get you ready for something else coming this year, you know.
Let me go over to some of the super chats here before we'll talk about Metroid Prime Remaster next. I Live Retro says, I hope we can get Lady Sia added to GBA on NSO. I've not heard
Excuse
that.
me?
Lady SIA.
Isn't that a character in Hyrule Warriors?
I'm looking at it.
I think it's a GBA game.
Oh, it
Game
is
Boy
a
Advance
GBA game.
Yeah.
I've seen and heard of this.
It's a platformer.
It's a platformer. Yeah, I've heard of it, but it is very obscure. But it's pretty good.
This looks like a Metal Jesus hidden gem.
Oh, there you go.
Hey guys, Metal Jesus here, talking today about the Game Boy Advanced.
Let's see. Throne says the PC gaming community are roasting Nintendrones and Sony ponies. The names they come up with are so funny. For defending 70 and simping for the companies, Alex has a live stream roasting OG right now.
Who's Alex?
Oh no, it's Alex.
OG's getting
roasting
roasted
me?
there. Man.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm so.
This was
I'm
from
so-
like, I think this was from like an hour ago.
And I don't know if how did I defend anything? I simply said I'm buying the game. I said people can buy whatever game they want at whatever price they want. I didn't defend anything. I said that, hey, look, if you want to buy a game at 70, if it's worth it for you, then buy the game at 70. If you want to buy the game at 60, then buy the game at 60. Some games aren't worth 60. Some games aren't worth 50. Games are subjective, what you think the game is worth. So, and I said that very clearly. So I don't know why anybody brings up me, but hey, tell Alex if he ever wants to talk to me, no problem whatsoever, my man. No problem whatsoever. I have no issue with him. His content is very mediocre, but I have no issue.
Damn.
You know, I have
Alex
no
has
issue with him.
Alex has beautiful supple thighs, and we will not.
No, he
slander
seems
him.
like he's I think he's married to that one other girl that I went on a
Erica.
podcast. Yeah, I went on a podcast and he seemed cool. He was cool, but I don't think I never said that people are allowed to buy, you know, I never said that, oh, it has to be this price and all that. No, I said, look, if you think it's too expensive, then
He
Don't
roasts
buy it.
anybody. He roasts everybody. He's
Yeah,
roasted
no,
me in the
no, it's
past.
all
I love
good.
him.
It's all good. It's all good. No, I think he's like I said, his content is. I was joking with the mediocre thing. It's cool. I've watched some of his videos and all that.
The
So
class-
much
The
love. to him.
OJ
Much love.
backpedal. The OJ
No,
backpedal.
no backpedaling. No, I've watched his content. Honestly, like I've seen his content before. I was just joking with the mediocre stuff. But no, shout outs to him. If he is roasting, if he wants to, that feel free. I don't know what content he's pulling from for me that I said that, but hey, it is what it is.
MTS says, are there any companies that sell modded original Xboxes or that will mod your Xbox? I want one, but don't want to put it together.
It's not very hard.
Sell modded Xbox. I don't know if anyone, I mean, I'm sure they're on eBay, but I can't necessarily recommend anyone sell or anything, but I would do your research on their previous purchases or sales. Glenn's,
I've bought some modded stuff on eBay, and if you check their sailor rate, like Spawnwave just said, I've bought a lot of modded stuff on eBay with a very high success rate, a lot of high quality stuff. Just check their previous sales.
Glenn says, off-topic question: why do some of the Spawn Wave crew refer to one another by their actual names, yet others aren't?
What?
I don't know.
I think it's just kind of a whatever feels natural in the moment. Like I have the weird problem where I know everybody's name and I've hung out with everybody here in person except for Sean because he's a fucking shut-in. But I think sometimes I slip up and still call him RGT because I watch his content, so I think of him as RGT Sean. You know?
Yeah, I just call Sean.
Call Sean. I do call him RGT. I do say
Max.
RGT sometimes.
It depends.
Sometimes I'll say Spawn, but usually I say John. Dreamcast. Sometimes I'll call you Max. Sometimes I'll call you like Dreamcast. I don't know. It's just random.
I mean, it's all of it's. Those are both of our names. We all have two names basically.
Well, now
so it's
MG has his
interchangeable.
name in like credits and stuff, so he's been outed with his full name now. So
Yeah, but I'll be
Oh,
honest.
what is
Call it Demetrius.
Demetrius, yeah.
it's easier to call him
EuroLeague
MG.
fucking player.
When he told me the first time we were talking, I was like, "Yeah, mate, my name's Demetrius." I'm like, the fuck it is. I'm not gonna call you that.
I'm not calling him that.
Demetrius.
That is too long. It does not fit him at
A lot
all.
of, yeah.
Cookie says Rockstar Games should learn how to remaster games from retro Nintendo. TJ says Nintendo, you have an absolute gold mine of libraries in Game Boy and Game Boy Advance. Please don't mess this up, especially Advance. That library is full of quality. It is. Bradley says persecuting people for playing a game about magical sticks is not going to make them more sympathetic to your calls.
Especially when the game is really good.
You missed it. I said that for about 15 minutes and I didn't get canceled.
I mean, you could put me on a list as someone playing. What the fuck?
You probably are on a list somewhere.
I'm probably on lots of lists.
The
You know,
no-fly list?
in 8th grade, this is no lie. I think I told this story before. Pecker Dupree was playing basketball after school. He found a backpack. He opened up the backpack to see whose backpack it was. It ended up being this girl named Carrie Chu's backpack. And inside of, like, he opened it up to see whose stuff it was, and he opened up a folder and found that it was Carrie Chu. And Carrie Chu had a hit list of people she wanted to kill, and I was at the top of the hit list. So he brought it home. He brought it to his mom. His mom called my mom. We all had to go up to the school. It was like a whole big thing.
That happened at my school too, but that was based on that like water gun assassination thing. That kid got kicked out of our school though. It was awesome.
Oh, wow.
Carrie Chu got 4 days of in-school suspension. Because she was like a really good student, and like they were like, "Is that okay with you?" And I was like, "I don't care as long as she doesn't try to kill me." Like,
It took like a third offense with one of the kids in my middle school to get kicked out after like bringing a Bowie knife to school.
And people were afraid of the Hogwarts Legacy talk. You just come here and listen to Sean for 10 minutes.
I got 4 days in school suspension for the stupidest thing. I drew a hockey player with shotguns for hands, and it said 666 on his armor because I didn't know any hockey teams. And some school like superintendent found it, and they put me in school suspension for threatening art. And it was the worst drawing you could imagine. It was like a
Art,
stick.
you
that feels very
Spawn?
hockey-ish. Though.
Hell Spawn?
And like literally, I just thought, like, what if somebody shot a hockey puck? I will draw. It was like a stick figure with gun hands, and they literally were like doing psych counseling. Like, do you want to hurt people? Like, no, I don't even want to play hockey. I just drew him. I don't know.
Element says it's been quite the week. Been looking forward to this week's episode. Good to have Elements here. Shout out. Corey says, "Hey Spawn, eat a Snickers. You don't sound like you when you're hungry." Voice is back. I'm feeling good now. Feeling good for the week ahead. Zoop says, "Twitter is on fire thanks to Hogwarts Legacy."
Yep.
Zoop says, "NSO is fire thanks to Wario." Jared says, "Does this mean that Silk Song will be $70?" I wouldn't be shocked if Silk Song was like 40.
40.
30.
30 or 40. Yeah, I think it's going to be more than Hollow Knight. Sean says, "Any chance Metroid Prime Remastered sells 3 million copies?"
It should. It should sell more than that.
You know what? Let's go into the Metroid Prime Remastered. There's still super chats here. Let's go into the Metroid Prime Remastered talk. It's shadow dropped. Everyone basically went and bought it and was like, "I guess I'll get it again when it's physically released." It's good. It's very good.
It's way better than I thought it was going to be.
It's
So-
amazing.
For a while, the rumor said that Retro was pretty happy with what they produced with this, and I'm like, all right, well, how far would they go with it? Is it just an upscale? Did they mess around with some of the texture stuff? Dude, I know it's technically a remaster because they didn't remake the game. Like, it's not a different game. It's still built on top of the original GameCube title. Man, this is like the best remaster I think I've ever seen.
It's fucking crazy, and it's honestly one of the best looking Switch games. Period.
Yeah.
Period. Like you play that shit on your OLED, dude. It's mind blowing. Like
OLED's good for it. Yeah.
it's just so crazy. It's so crazy how everything has been redone. Everything looks good. And the added control scheme to make it a modern control scheme just feels so good. You could do the motion controls if you want to. And it was $40. Like, I don't think any of us expected Nintendo to come in at $40. I thought it was going to be $60.
Especially after Sunshine was 60. I mean,
well, especially after Skyward Sword HD.
Skyward Sword was the one I thought of.
I thought it was going to be 50 if they did nothing. Like, I felt that it was going to be 50 if they did nothing like to the game outside of improve the graphics. I was thinking 50 for that because that was the rumors that it was just, hey, they're just going to take the game and do a nice remaster to it. Nothing's going to actually change within the game. So I thought probably 50 for something like that. That's what I was thinking. But they came in $10 cheaper than what I even thought. So,
I mean, but it's not just like the GameCube version running in HD. It's literally all new
it's remastered
textures and shit. Yeah, like
lighting,
dude, the
it's a
dynamic
full
shadow system and stuff.
Yeah, it's a full graphical remaster. But like I said, it's just like they didn't actually like change anything in terms of like in-game content. Like if they didn't, 'cause that's what the rumor said. It was just going to be a really well done remaster of the original GameCube game, leaving the wire maps, leaving maybe some of the things that were kind of like with the game, with some of the stuff where they didn't really like, they didn't even have like the achievement system, right?
I think it has
they didn't add that.
Sorry, 5.1 Dolby in it now.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. I think I'm not sure if the original supported 5.
It didn't.
No, okay, it didn't. It's
Joe
the progressive
from
scan.
GameSack was very impressed with it. He's like, "Ooh, there's 5.1." I was like,
Yeah.
"What the fuck are you talking about, Thor?"
Yeah, tech wise, it was very, 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 very good. I like what they did with the game tech wise.
One of the highest rated Switch games on Metacritic.
Yeah, immediately shot to like a 95. Well, it's
Because
94 now, but
it's already one of the highest rated games of all time. The game is just already, even if you did nothing to the game, if you just put the game out on the Switch, it'd still be really good, you know?
Bro,
You know what?
I gotta
what's
say, I love
amazing
those
is-
new controls.
Dude,
Sorry,
it's-
okay.
the controls, yeah. The controls are good. You have the dual analog with the lock on.
It feels so good. Well, especially, I love this game because you just keep unlocking abilities so fast. So it's like you have the rolly ball. Now you have rolly ball bomb, so you can jump. And now you have supercharge. And now you get this. Like it gives you skill so fast. And honestly, with the better controls, I enjoyed it like 10 times more because just you always feel like just dominating Talon 4.
Yep, it is. People are saying, yep, one of the greatest games ever made. I would agree. It is up there on like the greatest games ever made list. And you know what's amazing is this is still the game, like the same game from back then. I was looking better and all that and playing better. It still holds up. It immediately just shows up in 2023. It's like, yeah, this is still a really good game.
I think another thing that I think some people were talking about, but I also discussed too, like the art direction is just brilliant. And that was one of the things that made the game great. How the game is just drawn, like the art that they put together, their artists was just top notch, even back then. And so that's why the game always looks so good. If like you saw it like on Dolphin or whatever, it was always, man, this game still holds up. Like it still looks good, even when you put on like the Wii, right? Like Metroid Prime 3. Yeah, the Wii wasn't powerful, but man, that game still looked really good. Imagine them doing 3. Oh, like a remake of 3. Oh my goodness, that would even look better because 3's graphics look better than the original Metroid Prime by a bit.
I need 2.
If we're gonna go by the original rumor, that it seems much more correct now that we have this game in front of us. 2 and 3 will see a remaster treatment, but it's not going to be like this. It's going to be. And what's interesting is as the credits came out and we saw which studios worked on this. The belief now, at least for me, is that Retro is like all hands on deck for Prime 4 to get that done. And another studio might come in, I guess, to get the others to the finish line. And maybe it's Iron Galaxy.
I think Iron Galaxy is part of this one, right?
They did. They worked on. That's why I was like, maybe they then move on to do 2 and 3 and get that out the door.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna see all the Metroid Primes on the Switch, though. I think they'll all be there.
I think it was a smart move. Dropping this at 40, I think, was such a brilliant choice because making it cheaper than you would expect, I guarantee you so many people double dipped. And now I'm actually super excited to buy the second game and the third game. Like, even if they're less impressive remasters, I'm super excited to play them again.
Oh man, it would be really cool if they actually remastered it like this first game, especially like you guys talked about 2, right? 2 has a very interesting like light and dark world for those who don't know. It's people say it's the most difficult Metroid Prime game. Like out of the three, that's the most difficult one.
Yep.
Is Metroid Prime 2.
I'd say 2. Yeah, 2 is the most
So in
difficult.
today's day, that would be awesome, right? Because people like the difficult stuff in today's day. So I think it'd be pretty cool if they did that. But I don't know. We think it might just be like a 1080p type of, up.
Yeah, I think it's gonna get that. I think it's gonna be Skyward Sword, like kind of, sort of. So the thing with this also is it was sent for certification in 2021. So yes, the game has been apparently sitting around for a while, as we had heard through rumors. And Nintendo could have told us about it last year if they wanted, but they wanted to make sure Jeff Grubb cut his hair. So there you go.
They hate Jeff Grubb's beautiful locks of love.
They probably did it to spite Jeff Grubb.
I feel like they kind of did, but we can't prove it.
No, we can't prove it.
We can't prove it. I kind of feel like they did. I don't know. But hey, Metroid Prime Remastered's here. Everyone should buy it. It's an awesome game at $40, and it is immediately the best looking game just about on the Switch. I say. Oh, speaking of which, real quick, what's our confidence level now with Retro Studios and Metroid Prime 4?
Through the roof.
They're officially. You know what? If you're getting to a point where something hinders the game, literally just use the same shit you use with Metroid Prime. Remaster, change some things up, change some areas up, run with that. Because that's the standard now. Okay.
Yeah.
You had your 60 frames per second, your crystal clear
60,
textures, your everything that you did. Now this is the standard, and I don't want to see them dip below this. I don't want to see them get too big for their britches and try to make a game outside of the limitations of the hardware.
Yeah, I always felt that they were going to do a great job because the Prime games weren't they were always technologically awesome. Even like for the GameCube back then, they did some things. They always worked around the hardware, whatever limitations they had. They always did that with the Prime games, even with Metroid Prime 3. How good that game looked on the Wii. So yeah, I always and the people that they were hiring were nuts.
Yeah, there's a lot of top talent going there.
Yeah, top technical talent that know what they're doing. So I've always felt pretty confident in what they could do.
I feel like I had no confidence in Metroid Prime 4, but I also wasn't like. I guess it was just that because we had not seen it, it's just such a giant question mark. Mm-hmm. This is the first time where it felt like Retro came out in so long and said, "Oh yeah, we're freaking awesome. Like we know exactly what we're doing." And coming out with this,
you're right.
I liked it. Honestly, I love the way that Sean said, like, this is the new bar. Like this is it. It has to look this good. It has to play this good. If Metroid Prime 4 is better than this, it's going to be a legendary experience.
Yeah, especially because they've been doing 2D Donkey Kong games basically since Metroid Prime 3. It was nice to see them show up and impress everyone again with their prowess in 3D development and all of this. So I'm ready. I want to see what Prime 4 looks like because I feel like I think it's gonna blow some people away then just based on this remaster. So that's exciting stuff.
And just based on this Discord question, we are expecting to see 2 and 3 before 4, right? Like we are pretty sure.
This is weird because I think I kind of think Prime 4 is coming out in 2024, and I wouldn't be shocked if that's a cross-gen game. But
Prime 2 and 3 comes out sometime this year.
Holiday maybe.
Yeah, like one of those summer, like August-ish or September maybe. Like I think it's going to be like August or so. I think they're going to have some type of direct later in the year. Then they'll talk about it. So
hope
maybe even December. I mean, sometimes Nintendo does drop some stuff in December. Like Advance Wars was supposed to come out in December. Originally, it was supposed to come out in December. The Reboot Camp game. So.
I'm hoping we get Metroid Prime 2 here in like 2 or 3 months, Metroid Prime 3 a couple months after that, and Metroid Prime 4 this year. I'm still betting on Metroid Prime 4 this year, blindly.
Yeah. I think 2 and 3 are probably just going to be digital versions and they'll just push them out.
Yeah. And then they'll do a collection later.
They could. I mean, they could do it, but I think...
The new Metroid Prime trilogy, another Metroid Prime trilogy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. I mean, people would buy it.
I was awesome back then, man. I love that Metroid Prime trilogy.
They come out and they're like, "Hello, you pay pigs. Now, today is the new purchases you'll be making like
soon."
A
big box set that's 1 through 4. And it's like, you just buy this big box that has all of them spot. Yeah, see?
Those became rare, but remember back when nobody really bought those when it came out. And then they were like $20. I remember I picked it up for $20 at Best Buy back in the day. And now they're kind of rare now. They're kind of rare to have like the Metroid Prime trilogy on the Wii.
I think it's worth a couple $100. I got a copy over there.
It's worth a little bit. It went down because of the release on the Wii U, but I think it's going back up now that the Wii U's out. So,
Evan, do you want to hit us with a Discord question over there?
Let's go with, why don't companies spread out releases versus dropping everything right now? His example is that we've basically gotten Dead Space, Hogwarts, SpongeBob game, the new Metroid stuff, the Game Boy Advance stuff, and all the demos in a very short period of time.
I don't know.
I feel like there's marketing research somewhere that's literally just like the highest peak times for people to buy anything are like these times during the year, and every game company has that info, and they're just like, let's just do that. Let's just go with that.
Well, it's also that a lot of companies, if you ask them, they'll tell you very transparently that they plan to release a game like 2 years in advance. They have like a rough release date in mind. They get closer and closer to it. At that point, it's difficult to delay. If you've already been marketing for 6 months and everybody announces their game is coming out in February, it's like, well, we've been planning this for 2 years. We can't push it back.
I just think that there's a lot of video game companies, they all make games, and there's only 12 months in a year.
Kind of like they all talk to each other, like have a big meeting.
Yeah, so that's just kind of how, that's how it was back when I was working, in like the auto industry. Like, there's a lot of different cars that come out. They're all coming out all the time, and that's just how it is.
Let's see. Max, did you have to go because you said your voice turned?
I am gonna bounce. Sorry, my throat's getting real scratchy, and I gotta film a video in the morning. But I love y'all a bunch. Thanks so much. It's good talking to you, Sean. I haven't seen you in a minute. Glad you're feeling better, buddy.
Feeling better.
Good, man.
Metroid Prime.
Let's see. I'm going over some of these super chats. Zbat says Dreamcast guy talking about boycotting, but wasn't he trying to cancel Bayonetta over a sour voice actor? Did I get it before he left? Oh, he left. Sorry, Zbat. I tried. I just saw it.
You apologized.
Beautiful says, excited to see Level 5 making games for the West again. Tekka Police looks cool and so glad Professor Layton is back. Here's hoping for Yokai Watch 4. Jake says, I started a new job this week. Now I get to enjoy my favorite podcast while playing Metroid Prime Remastered. What a good week. Oh, with my mom.
Yeah, congrats on your job,
your mom. You're listening to this. You're listening to Sean's stories with your mom while playing Metroid Prime Remastered.
That's fine. She was introduced. My mom was introduced to how I watch Nick games.
Oh wow. Okay.
Well,
Martin says,
we watched 3 games. She was in town for 3 games. All 3 of the games were close games, and she was like, I need to send these people your hospital bills. This is why you are the way you are.
Any overtime games in there?
Yes, there was one.
Oh man.
And that was the one we lost against the Lakers, and then we won the next 2.
Okay.
But they were very close games.
You guys lost to the Lakers. That team is trash.
They are. They got one guy on there who's pretty decent.
Martin says DRM ruins gaming experience. Free our games. Tijo says, what's with Nintendo not letting us play black cartridge Game Boy games, Zelda, Game & Watch G3 in Game Boy and Game Boy Pocket color modes like on original hardware. I mean, those are supposed to be the Game Boy color palette ones, I believe, right? I don't know. I guess they figured that everyone want to play it in Game Boy Color. I'm not sure. It's Nintendo.
Well, I think it's like the Game Boy Color has tons of different colors that you can do, whereas with the Switch Online, because there was always a preferred color mode for just about every game, and then there was do whatever you wanted. So that's why when you play Metroid 2, like when you play it in Game Boy Color mode, Samus is orange because it's using the color palette that was the default for it. It's basically, they basically tried to optimize the colors instead of you just sticking around. I would have liked to have seen it, pick your own colors and stuff like that. But let's be realistic. I think just having that as an option, because I didn't get to talk about the Game Boy stuff, but having, Game Boy P green, Game Boy Pocket, and then Game Boy Color modes, plus turning on ghosting, turning off ghosting. Like, I think that's a bit above and beyond what we really expected with those games. But I still find it bizarre that Game Boy and Game Boy Color are lumped together, because you look at a game like Alone in the Dark and you're like, this would not have ran on a Game Boy.
Nah, it's all the same generation.
It's not. It's clearly not. The Game Boy Color games only run on a Game Boy Color. They do not run on a Game Boy.
No, Nintendo says you are.
Have you ever fit one of those into a Game Boy before?
Well, I mean, the cartridge is the same size, isn't it?
Yeah, you can make it so it still works in there. Have you seen the message you get? You actually get a message. It pops up.
It probably tells you to fuck yourself.
It says, "While this is the same generation, this won't work on this Game Boy." Sorry.
It does not say generation. It's so weird to me.
Yeah.
Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance.
You almost thought
Welcome
John was telling the truth for a second. People in the chat.
Sean's about to
No,
look
I
it
know
up.
it does have a message.
It does have a message. It
It's
does,
like an
yeah.
error message.
Yeah. Dream says, question, can a game after launch get such core gameplay mechanics added and tweaked like Sonic Frontiers by the end of the year, like Momentum Spin Dash? Apparently is what they're going to add. You sure?
I mean, yeah, I mean, games as a service is a thing. Games constantly evolve. Look at No Man's Sky from launch till
that's a
today.
good one.
Or even like Street Fighter. Street Fighter added a new thing called V-Shift, like a completely new mechanic to Street Fighter 5. That changes up the way that the game plays quite a bit. So yeah, there's some companies can add new mechanics all the time.
Jake says, what is your favorite 3 game from Nintendo? So like Luigi's Mansion 3, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Splatoon 3, Bayonetta 3.
Mario 3 and
Mario 3 is a good
Xenoblade
man.
3.
It's tough to discount Mario 3.
Yeah, Mario. If we're
Luigi's
talking,
Mansion 3 is a fucking banger.
Luigi's Mansion 3 is really good, but so is
Mario
Xenoblade
3's
3.
legit. Come on now, Mario.
I
3 's
I feel like I have to give it up to just by default. It's like, wow, it's Mario
like
3.
the 2D GOAT. Like you can still play that game right now and be like, dang,
Yeah.
this game was incredible. It had power-ups. It has more power-ups than modern day platformers sometimes, like it was great. Mario 3.
Tijo says, are both of the Fusion GBA Link bonuses in Metroid Prime Remastered? I don't know, actually, Tijo. That was a good question.
Yeah, I hope so. But wait, Metroid said Metroid Prime Remastered?
MPR, yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
I do not know. I'm not sure. Andre says, don't complain about jumping in Hogwarts when you highly praise your dumb God of War games. Hey, you can jump in God of War 1, 2, and 3. Not the newer one. You can jump at times if you're near a cliff that has the right marking on it. Yeah, you can. I said one of the things that annoyed me was sometimes I'd come up against one of those little 2-foot walls and you can't jump over it. Like it's out in the Forbidden Forest. It's like I can fly my broom 2 feet to get over this or walk all the way around it.
Yeah.
We need a universal jump button in all games.
And there's sometimes you can't land in places where it's like I can land here. There's clearly enough space. And I'm like, no, you can't. Okay.
The African Triforce says, I'm okay paying $70 for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, mainly because the Zelda team has given us quality Zelda games 37 years. So it's one of the few video games that earn the right to charge that much. Okay,
that's terrible.
Hold on.
Hey, wait, it's the same people for all those years making this game? That's crazy.
All right, let's go into the last topic. There's still some super chats here to go through, and you have some Discord questions still, Evan?
Yeah. Well, specifically for this Zelda stuff.
Are there any for the Zelda topic that we're about to go into?
Yeah.
Okay, I will very quickly. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. The day before the Direct, it went live. The page $70. Pre-orders for $60 started getting pulled down left and right. Some people did get the pre-orders in. And I think they're getting them honored actually, like GameStop and others. But it was a whole mess the day before. A lot of questions being asked. Then they did the trailer. Then they posted up that it is $70. They had some follow-up questions that they answered. I think it was a Game Informer. They said that it will not be a trend necessarily going forward for all new Nintendo games to be 70. They'll handle them case-by-case basis going forward. Okay, so we now have our first official Nintendo release at $70. I want to cite a tweet I made a year and a half ago, where I said Nintendo will test the $70 market because they are doing $60 remasters for the Wii and Wii U right now, and it's working. Yeah. And here we are. They're making the push. It's a very unique push though, because it's not going from one generation to the next. It's just this game's 70 now.
At the end, in generation at the end, which is so obtuse. But
I mean, the reason is because fucking they're using a 32 gig cartridge. Look, no, it is.
That's not that. No, that's
is that what they said?
No, is
that a quote?
Why else would it be? That's the only logical
for
reasoning.
The lulls.
No, that's probably part of it. The game was just expensive to develop, and yet it is the largest Switch game ever. But considering how much money, Breath of the Wild made,
There's no reason for it to be 70. I agree, OJ.
You know, like they could have easily. I mean, it's not like they had to do it.
Well, this is
They're
the
doing
game
it
you try it
because-
on, because the first one was what, 120% attach rate. Like, if you're gonna lose people to a game price, this is the one you lose some people to.
I think they know everyone. They're like, basically they showed up, sat down at the table, like, "What, you're not gonna buy this game now because it's $10 more," and everyone's kind of like, no, I'm still gonna buy this because it's Zelda. I mean, if they did it with some other intellectual
Pikmin?
property, it's
If
not.
they do some Pikmin,
If it
there's
was
no-
Pikmin, yeah,
no
people
way
be
it
like,
flops, you know.
But if it's Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, game's been in development for like 6 years or something as follow up to the game of the year for 2017. People are like, well, yeah, I'll fine. You know what? No, I'm getting the $130 collector's now. But it's very odd. I did not expect this one. I thought they would have done it when they went to the next gen system. I don't know, next year or something. And they're like, well, you know what? It's 70 now. And I thought it was because they looked around and they're like, well, we think Zelda's worth more than Returnal. You know, in their mind, this intellectual property is worth more than that one. So it's 70 now. But it's very weird. The only thing I can think of is that they know it'll still sell. That's it.
It's the largest game that they've ever done. It's probably on it's either on a 32 gigabyte cartridge or it's on a special custom 20 gigabyte. Like there's two options. It's either on a 32 or it's on like a 20 that they like custom made that's out of their normal manufacturing. Like because it's 18.2 or 18.3 gigabytes, which is over the 16 gigabyte standard. They do have 32 gigabyte cartridges, but
yeah, wouldn't it cost more to do a special cartridge
it
instead
would.
of just
So
using the 32 gig?
Exactly. So they're just probably using a 32. You know, they're just probably using that. But yeah, man, like I wish it was 60 though, because that would have just been okay. Cool, it's 60. Whatever the case is, passing that to the consumer isn't necessarily like ideal, you know. So I wish it was 60 for that. But I mean, I'm buying the game.
It's weird because it's still voucher eligible.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 'cause that's a digital copy.
That's a digital copy. Yep, good point.
Yeah.
So
I gotta
that's
fix my camera apparently.
It's still it
Hang on.
definitely caught everyone off guard though for that to happen. And I will tell you this now, the expectations for this game for me are now through the roof. I'm like, wow, they're pushing this thing. There must be some crazy stuff they have not shown us for this game or something. Like there must be
fucking technology on the chip of the fucking cartridge or something.
No, I mean like we're gonna get this game
Super
and
FX?
there's like three different layers. Like it's like there's three different levels. There's the sky, there's the mainland, and there's the underground. And each one of those, it's so sprawling and vast. There's all this stuff to do, and it's this mind blowing game. That's all I can think of because they feel the need to push this to 70. There must be like masterpiece quality stuff about to come out in May. And I mean, it is coming off the lineage of Breath of the Wild, so a lot of people assume that that's what's going to happen, but. They're calling their shot.
I think the story is going to be far more involved this time. Like that's what I'm thinking. Even just like that beginning, I think that the story there's going to be a lot more voice acting. And the story is going to not be told through. Maybe there'll be some flashbacks, but it's not going to be how the story was played out. So I think it's actually going to have a continuum story based off the surveys that they're doing. There's some definite things that it seems like they're pulling people about. Hey, what do you like? And one of the things was like in terms of like the story stuff. So I think that's going to be far more involved. As well, but yeah, you're right. Probably going to be something kind of crazy.
I think they'll probably have that direct, closer, right? Like a Zelda direct, and maybe they'll even show the special edition Switch there too. That seems to be confirmed now because people found symbols that had not been announced previously, and it matched up to so everyone's like, okay, yeah, this is an actual thing.
Yeah, it matched up. Those icons matched up or whatever. Those logos matched up. So
thinking like mid-April or end of April or something, we get that direct, right? Just one final push. Here it is, the Switch, April, first half April or something.
Yeah, or maybe just like a Zelda direct, right?
Just Zelda direct. Okay, yeah. End of March maybe to make sure the Switches are in stock in stores or something. I don't know, but that's my thought there. The way I see it with these $70 games, if they feel the need to push it that far, then the market will decide. And it hasn't been favorable at all. $70 games. Like the Callisto Protocol, that was 70, wasn't it? I feel like that was 70.
Yeah, it was.
And for next gen, current gen.
Oh,
PS5
okay.
and
Yeah,
stuff.
that was.
And
that was
came in under expectations, so it doesn't always work.
Well, it doesn't work for. That's a bad idea for a brand new IP. Like it works for God of War. Like that's what I was telling people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I did this in my video, and we talked about this, John, we've discussed this. It works for God of War.
Mm-hmm.
It does not work for Returnal and Ratchet and Clank. Yes, Ratchet and Clank did good, But Ratchet and Clank is not a $70 game. Like people aren't used to buying Ratchet and Clank at 70 or Returnal at 70, new IPs. So it's not going to work favorably, like overwhelmingly. But for God of War, it'll work. God of War sold like crazy, right? You have the bundles too, but it's still sold at 70.
I feel like Horizon Forbidden West probably worked with the 70 as well. Like I think they got that to work.
I think it did, but they have not announced the sales. So
they haven't. God of War, they were just like, here's 11 million. It's like,
yeah, I don't know how well it worked for Horizon. And on top of that, they still haven't announced the sales, and the game's been discounted quite a bit now. You can get it for cheaper than that 70 too. So and it was bundled in as well. So I mean, I don't know how well it worked, but I'm guessing it did good though. I don't think it did bad at 70. Like I don't know how well it did though.
I'm curious if I assume we'll have DLC for this Zelda game as well.
Yeah, they're probably gonna do like a expansion pass or something.
Yes, they'll announce that at the direct coming
drop
up.
the roadmap. It'll be great.
You'd have to imagine that would be on whatever the next system is too, though.
Yeah, it would be then. I feel like
the special edition release. Yeah,
you think we get another release of this game after the next system comes out? Like, I don't know. It's interesting how they'll handle that, because I feel like even at 70, they might be thinking they're going to sell this, maybe even with a patch that pushes it up to some newer visuals or something on the next system for years. This is like that big Zelda game. We're going to sell it for a while. It's 70 now because our next gen games will be 70 anyway.
I think so. They're probably thinking that, because if you can go back, they did that before, even like with games like Smash Brothers used to sell on the Wii. It used to sell even on the Wii U, like they kept on selling, or even like Mario Kart games like that would always sell, or Mario Kart's like DS and things like that. So games would sell even before like the next games come out. So yeah, I think they're probably thinking that they're just going to continue selling this game for quite some time, because I don't think there's going to be another new big Zelda game for quite a number of years.
Oh no, I mean, they might even just break away from this completely, the structure, then, and just do a whole other one after that. So we'll see. There's still a lot of information we need for this game. Just they've shown us some trailers that haven't filled in all the spots yet. So we'll see. What I'm curious is, well, one, I'll ask you this real quick. Do we think Metroid Prime 4 is a $60 or $70 game?
Doc Trey said that it was $70. Talk of the town. You're gonna go against that?
It's 70. I was kind of thinking it's 70 though. Metroid
Still
Prime 4
down as well.
You want to talk about some expensive games, dude? That game's been in development forever.
It could be. I don't know. I don't know if doing Metroid is a good idea.
Well, if it's cross-gen, I'm thinking now it's 70. If it's cross-gen.
Well, if it's cross-gen, but let's just say just Switch version. Like, I don't know if that's a good idea, because I don't know if Metroid pulls the same weight as like Zelda. What I think they can do is like the next Mario Kart, right?
Mario Kart
70, obviously. The next big 3D Mario, you can do 70. Smash Brothers, yeah, you can do 70 for those. But Metroid, I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna get. Yes, all of us, we're gonna be hyped.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know if that's a good idea overall. I don't know if that's a good idea. I think they should be fluid. Don't make it a standard for everything. Because once again, I don't like $70 game price. I want everything to stay obviously as low as possible. But I've bought $70 games before. I bought Returnal at 70, and I bought Ratchet and Clank at 70. And I've probably never bought a $70.
I feel like some of us aren't, like us here probably aren't the best examples of because to me it's like, well, we're gonna have to play these. We're gonna play the games to go through and discuss on channels, podcasts, all these different things. I feel like if I was just like a mainstream gamer, all that, I probably would look at the $70 price and be like, maybe I'll wait a bit. Like Callisto Protocol, I probably would have just waited. I'd be like, I'll check it out when it's cheaper. Those kind of titles. But I will admit, games like God of War, that probably would have got me, and definitely Zelda would have got me too. So there are those games that are like viewed as generational, where it's like,
because like I'm trying to think, like, remember when God of War 2 came out? Games were 50, right?
Yep. PS2, they're 50.
I would have paid 100 back then for God of War 2. Like, and even like to get like the exciting games. Oh yeah, like even back before I did YouTube and all that. And I definitely would have paid for certain games. I would have paid more if they would have said pay more, because God of War 2 came out even with like next gen when games were 60, and the price jump went up. I was like, well, I don't give a damn. I'll pay whatever for God of War 2.
There was a very similar pushback to what we saw a year ago or so, a year and a half ago. 2 years ago, we had that similar pushback going from 50 to 60. You could still find forums online, old posts of people freaking out. And I feel like now a lot of the market's kind of accepted the $70 price tag from what I see online. So and eventually you get the point where it's like, well, you just wait for every game then and hope it goes on sale, which some do, but Nintendo games tend to not.
For Horizon. I didn't buy Horizon day one. I just waited. So
yeah.
I always say games are subjective, man. Like not everybody's gonna think that a game is worth this. If it's not worth it, then don't buy it. You can wait. That's the best way to show this. Like, hey, I'm not gonna spend my money on that. If you don't feel it's worth the price. But it's always been subjective to me. Even back when they raised the price to 60, I've always felt like, hey, look, not every game is worth 60 just because they say MSRP 60. That doesn't mean it's worth 60 to you. That doesn't mean it's worth 60 to everyone. Like you have you're your own person. You can determine what you feel a game is worth.
I do hope that if Nintendo is going straight up 70 next gen, that they push things to like 4K minimum. It's like, we're going to do it. We're going to upscale things. We'll get it there. And that we'll at least have that figured out. That's what I'd like to see
behind it.
What's that? What?
Put the effort behind
I would just like to see that side of things. They have the games figured out for gameplay stand. It's like, let's just go a little bit more with the technical side. Let's get it there. You can market 4K then, and it's like, all right.
No, they're not going to, man.
I know,
but they need.
I'd like to. I'm seeing Metroid Prime Remastered. I'm like, oh my gosh, this could be even better. It's like, I'd like to see it at this point. I'm there with Nintendo now. Let's do it.
The DLS stuff. I don't know, or DLSS.
That's what I'm thinking more through upscaling, because even like the PS5 and the Xbox Series, like they're games that are. It's relying on upscaling techniques to get it there. So I'm like, you know what, Nintendo, let's do that too. Let's get it to 4K and or 1440p, 10 whatever, and it just upscales there. Just make it look a bit sharper when it's in docked mode, better frame rate, and then you know what? It's like, all right, I feel like we're getting somewhere with it. So that's what I like to see. We'll finish up for some of the Discord questions and some of the super chats here. Evan, do you have Discord questions you want to go through real quick?
I feel like we did cover the $70 ones a bit, so let's go with, what is your favorite genre?
Favorite genre? I'm going to say action RPG.
I'm gonna say racing games for me.
Nice, there it is.
Nice. Sean is obviously JRPGs.
JRPGs.
Sean's JRPGs. Yeah.
Sean's the visual novel guy over there.
Yeah, visual novel, hentai games, big on hentai games.
Whoa, we don't have to go there.
It's all weeb stuff together.
All weeb stuff. Suppose Nintendo one day doesn't do directs anymore. What other ways can Nintendo announce their upcoming games?
Dude, I saw that piece by Chris, and I'm like, I don't really know what they do after this.
What is
I don't really know. I don't really know. It's
just drop a tweet.
I think everyone was kind of confused by what he meant. I don't know if he thinks they're going to do VR and like you put on the VR headset to go watch it, or I don't know.
I read the article. He meant evolve it. So maybe some type of like hybrid. So for example, Square Enix did a hybrid direct where it is live and then it's also where they show, and so you get the energy, but then you also get like the preparation, right? When they showed FF7. So that was from what I understand, they looked at Nintendo Directs and were like, we can do that, but let's do it in a little bit of an exciting way. And they haven't done it since then, but maybe that would be some type of evolution of a Nintendo Direct. You hybrid it up, you get live show plus the thing.
But why does it need to be live?
I don't know.
I mean, at this point, is it just that they're complaining that they're not getting invited to these things anymore?
No, he's not complaining that. He just said that they need to evolve. He wants to see an evolution of Nintendo Direct. So that would be one example of Square Enix looked at the Nintendo Direct and said, well, what can we do to do something a little bit different? And that was their version of it. Although it's not easy to do, and there were issues.
No, yeah, that feels like a backpedal for efficiency.
No, you're right about it. It is a backpedal for efficiency because there were issues during that the live portions. The video portions were fine, but the live portions there was some unsynced stuff. It wasn't. There was the crowd. You had to wait for certain things. It wasn't. I think it'd be a step back. It'd be a step forward in some ways, but then it'd also be a couple steps back too. So
it's. I mean, these are just commercials. I don't know. It's just like you can only dress up commercials so much.
Just drop it as a YouTube short. It's the new way.
I guess.
YouTube short, 60 seconds. Not everything in 60 seconds.
Just every game they're dropping, just a 15-second short. Just like, here you go.
10 million views right there.
You have another one, Evan?
If the rumors are to be believed and Bandai Namco is in fact developing a Kid Icarus Uprising port, assuming that development only started about a year ago based on job listings, wouldn't it be more likely to appear on the Switch's successor at this point?
Okay, that job listing definitely seemed like it was Baten Kaitos. So let's just put that out there. That job listing seemed like it was for Baten Kaitos. That was the game. So it was probably Baten Kaitos. I just want to say that.
Yep, that's what I'll go with too.
And the last one is just, has anyone been playing Marvel Snap?
I have not. I tried it a little bit and then I stopped.
Yeah, I'm not a mobile guy, man. I've tried so much to like mobile games and I just can't, dude.
Let me go over to some of the super chats here. Quem says, OJ, I'm not a Harry Potter person either. Hogwarts is really good. Plus, it was nice to have multiple black hair options for my character for once.
I did see that, and yeah, absolutely. You know, I think that's cool that they did that. They did a great job. That's probably the best that they've ever done. I mean, that was DLC when it comes to Monster Hunter, right? Just to get some hairstyles for the brothers
alternate
out
races
there.
DLC.
Yeah, like it's like, whoa, we're adding. It's a big deal here.
It's kind of weird.
Get that
Black History Month drop.
Black History DLC going, but no, I like it's cool. But I mean, yeah, I don't want to play. I don't want to play it right now, and I'm not spending 70 on it right now. And I rather not. But later, I know it'll be on sale. I'll pick it up. I'll check it out. But right now, I'm still playing Fire Emblem. Still going through that, so I want to get that done.
Cristobal says, already in the Spawncast watching The Last of Us. I am. I did not watch the most recent one. They put it up early last night because of Super Bowl tomorrow, but I will get a chance to watch it. Hopefully, probably tomorrow before the Super Bowl. I'll watch it. Very good show so far. Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
And Saya says, so this is how the storyline goes. After you defeated Ganon, Breath of the Wild, a couple days later, the Red Moon appeared, and that brought Ganon back to life. Sequel, Destroy the Red Moon. Let's see. This is from the 16-bit retro. Says, your thoughts on Review Tech USA Nintendo Direct?
He put out a Nintendo Direct?
Did he?
Interesting.
Wow.
I think he live streamed it.
Oh, okay. I did not see any of that.
And he was not happy with it, probably.
Oh. Okay. Ruffles says, is Xenoblade 3 and Xenogears confirmed connected?
So that's what some people are saying because of the main character or the new main character for the expansion. It can be connected. There are some things, especially like with the conduit and all that. But I mean, it's not confirmed. And remember, Xenogears is a Square Enix IP. I know Xenosaga, there's definitely some connections. But we'll see. Some people say like the new character is going to be like the physical representation of like Fei Wong or whatever. But I don't think they can officially confirm that they're connected in terms of all these IPs that don't belong to Nintendo. Because, you know, Xenosaga is Bandai Namco and Xenogears is, you know, Square Enix. So
Tijo says, your thoughts on the DK Oldies drama? I thought about doing a video on it from perspective of somebody who was running stores and doing refurbished units.
This shit's expensive, bro. You shouldn't be buying from there anyways.
There's stuff that the refurbished thing is weird because they showed a video of them refurbishing, and that's not how you refurbish systems. And I thought about getting a system off of eBay and actually showing how I would have gone through refurbishing, but I was like, I need to get an ultrasonic cleaner.
Yeah, you didn't keep any of the old equipment, did you?
I don't have an ultrasonic cleaner anymore. I need to get an ultrasonic cleaner, and it was like a big tub ultrasonic cleaner. So I'm like, do I buy that then? I mean, I wanted another one, so maybe.
How much is it for an ultrasonic cleaner?
They're expensive.
For a good one,
because you got to get it the right size to put like the whole board.
It's a pretty big one. It's like $600-700 for a decent one. But it's a big tub that uses like sound waves and stuff. It's pretty cool, vibration, and you dunk the whole thing in there. It'll have all the junk come off of it. It's really cool. Like all the motherboard.
Got to create that solution of like what's the non-particle water and like isopropylene and stuff like
distilled water, and there's a whole bunch of mixtures you could get. You'd make it yourself, 50%, 50%, and the stuff would come out really nice. But we'd dunk a lot of stuff in there because you'd have to sanitize it. Like, you're not selling people stuff if you're refurbished. If it's used and it comes in and it works and you just put it out there, it's like, hey, it's used. But if it's refurbished, you put your name on it. You know, come on.
Your name Breaking Bad, were you guys out there like
right?
Dude, when you see the old boards and you see all the oxidization on it, and you're like, how does this thing turn on? That thought is the thought that comes before. Oh, it's not going to turn on anymore. So
who's
you got to clean
here? Is that John? You Jesse?
You would get some fumes off that thing. I'll be honest, but I thought about doing that. That might be a fun video, refurbishing like a PlayStation 2 or something, or PS1
Shave
or
your
something.
head, John. Shave your head.
Yeah, right. Just showing how you really go through it. I don't know. We'll see. I might do it. It is very expensive though. Sean.
Oh, yeah.
Let me go through. Switch Realm says I was looking forward to another Evan cast today. Evan's right there.
I'm here. I'm tired.
IQ says 2023 off to a great start. Dead Space, Hogwarts, Metroid Prime, back to backs, legendary. I'm worried about Zelda though. Trailer was weak. I think a whole direct's coming. I will say that. I think they're gonna have a big blowout, and people are gonna be like, "All right, this game looks."
Watch some lore stuff, man. That trailer was all about showing you the new mechanics, how they're compared to the previous one, because like enemy variety was a problem. You know, weapons, certain stuff like that. Story. Those are the things that one just showed. They're gonna show more, but I liked what I saw from the trailer, personally.
Tijo says Sonic Advanced, Sonic Battle, make it happen on NSO Sega. Joe says Nightmare in Dreamland. There you go. Turbo is missing only got a mirror. Turbo Express says, when do you likely see Nintendo make more N64 Switch controllers? Imagine if they made Game Boy and Game Boy Advance controllers.
What would that even be?
I don't know. That's the only system we don't have controllers for, though. It's like, well, yeah, they don't.
Just using NES controllers, 2 buttons.
Yeah. Travis says, did you play Dead Space? I did. I beat it. It was very good. I recommend it. Good game. I was working through the New Game Plus when I put it down for a bit. Precious says, Tears of the Kingdom yet. Thought the new trailer sucked, to be honest. I'm telling you, wait for I think there's going to be a direct. I think they're going to blow out for it. So JL says, I know at least a few Spawncasters like Wario Land games. Have any of you heard or played Pizza Tower? I've heard of it. I've not played it.
I've not heard of it or played it.
Jeremy says, had to donate. RGT back in the ring. RGT is here. Elijah says, for 70, do we get a gold cartridge?
That'd be cool.
That would actually be kind of neat. Gabrielle says, Metroid Hunters and Kid Icarus Uprising HD, please. I think Kid Icarus is still on the table.
Makes sense.
Rumo says, for 70, can I name myself as McGee?
Hopefully.
Yeah. Then Rumo says solid 69 out of 100. Joshua says, RGT, try listening to these. Castlevania from Poppin' Music 15 and Vampire Killer from Sound Voltex.
Poppin' Music 15?
Yeah.
It's like an
I will
AOL
drop
email
this here
address.
for you.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you.
You got it. Then Tijo says, anyone played an F-Zero X cabinet? They look cool. I have not played that. Cristobal says, too bad Octopath Traveler 2 is not on the Xbox. Vernon says, I will buy Tears of the Kingdom digital and use a voucher. That is the way you could go. Ford says,
do that.
You might do it. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's 50 and then you get another game for 50. So just pick one of their new games that's coming up if you're going to get them anyway.
I kind of like the Kirby demo.
There you go. Ford says, Metroid Prime, one of the GOATs. I remember it back in the day. Some of the best level design ever. Rumo says, chat art Dreamcast. I'm going through the super chats a bit faster because I think Sean's fading. J2 Blue says, was the F-Zero game Nate was talking about the one on GBA? No, there is a F-Zero GX. That's most likely, that might be at E3. I do believe F-Zero GX is
You think that's going to be another stealth drop too?
You know, it could be. Hey, I like it. I like the GameCube stealth drops.
Yeah, dude. Every direct, just do a GameCube stealth drop.
Let me ask you, I wonder why GameCube's games are getting remastered.
They know where to go, okay?
I wonder why GameCube is getting remastered more than another system. I'm just saying, like, I mean,
licensing issues, clearly.
Like, I'm just saying, because you know, I watched one video from somebody that one of the greatest games of all time on one system, and that person seemed to be upset. And then a different game came out, and I watched the video from somebody who could be wearing Knicks gear at this point, and he seemed very happy. And these are two of the greatest games in both of these systems' respective libraries. And one video was upset where he died on stage one.
What was I upset about?
The other video, I'm talking about you.
No, what game upset me?
GoldenEye.
Oh, fuck that.
Oh, you were shooting your feet in the video.
It's because the Xbox version is so much better with the normal fucking controls. I don't care what anyone says.
Wait a minute. Metroid Prime has revamped controls.
I know.
Is it better than Metroid Prime? But is GoldenEye on the Xbox better than Metroid Prime?
if GoldenEye on the Xbox had the multiplayer, you can make a case for it.
Because the multiplayer.
Right. You're getting a more complete package.
Gotcha.
And I mean, that's not a remaster. That's literally just upscaled textures. Whereas Metroid Prime's a remaster. So it's kind of apples and oranges.
The GoldenEye remake with multiplayer, though, that would give it a shot. Is what you're saying?
Yeah,
Okay,
for sure.
Okay, okay. GoldenEye remake with multiplayer. Okay, I can feel you on that one. Yeah.
Tile says bought a GBA SP AGS 101 2 days before the direct. Yeah, well, it's still good to have that in the collection. That's a good one to have. Rumo says I took a dump. Y'all want to buy that for 40 if I label that as a remaster? JK, but seriously, the game is awesome. Alex says
I just bought the physical copy too, even though I shouldn't be wasting money on shit like that right now.
I mean, that is a good piece to have, though. It's a legendary game. Alex says, what is your guys' favorite game of all time? Ooh, favorite game. I might still just be Link to the Past for me.
Metal Gear Solid 3, Super Mario 64.
Oh, you're gonna have some fun this soon.
Hopefully.
Soon. Alvin.
Mario 3 for me. Mario 3 or like I like Breath of the Wild a lot. I like
Breath of the Wild's good.
2. Yeah, Mass Effect
2 is good.
Yeah.
Alvin says
Chrono Trigger. There you go.
Chrono Trigger. So glad more people are playing one of the greatest of all time. Prime. Hope they also remaster one of the very few games that's better. Echoes. Whoa.
What game?
Metroid Prime 2. Now the order goes 1, 3, 2.
Wait, what?
That's
from
right.
What? From best to worst?
Best to worst. 1, 3, 2. That's my list.
Wait, 2's better than 3?
No. 1 is the best one, then 3, then 2.
I can't. Okay, yeah.
That's my list.
I don't just. Man, Metroid Prime 3 is the stuff that they do in that game is pretty crazy. Like the shit part. I mean, it's not.
No. 3 is good. 3 is good.
3's incredible.
I mean, I'm
man.
talking about 3 good games. I'm just like putting them in like an order for me.
Well, they're all good though. They all have their hooks, you know.
Yeah.
I would say 1, 2, 3, but 2 and 3 being very close.
Okay.
No corruption meter. How you get to just blast them with the corruption?
I do. I mean, like I said, 2 and 3 are very close, but I don't know. I think 2 is. I don't know. Maybe
I haven't played through them in a while either. Like I would like to see them again soon.
I think 2 gets more appreciated now at this point. Like if they did 2 and they remastered to the level, I think people might say 2's the best, honestly, because of the difficulty, because of how difficult it is. I think some people might say 2's the best.
You know what? I'll play it through it again later this year when it gets dropped on the Switch.
But if it's not remastered like it, then it's not going to be. It's not going to be fair. It's not going to be fair.
Rumo says Echo the Dolphin needs a remaster remake. Joe says since Grub was kind of right about Prime direct off, you think that means we could still see the Twilight Wind Waker HD maybe after all the tears? Yeah, I think that'll probably happen too. I think that's going to work to fill in the.
And you know what? Those are 2 GameCube games too.
I think that's going to work to fill in this time period where Nintendo is doing a lot of development for the next gen platform.
GameCube is great.
Daryl says, do you think the expectations for Prime 2 and 3 now will be too high?
No, because if you bundle them together,
yeah, it'll be bundled.
Value price point, and
that's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah, it'll be like
$60 for the 2 of them.
Well, they'll charge 60 for it after charging 40 for.
I could see 50 for 2, maybe.
Well,
no, I meant
right.
50 for both of them.
They just bundled them together and it's $50.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe 25
each.
bucks. Yeah, 25 each.
You think or you think $20 each?
Maybe they do. 40.
No, I was thinking $60.
Oh wow, you think I'd go 60 on it? Okay, never mind.
Yeah. This is Nintendo for Christ's sakes.
Sean, yeah, they'd be like, just be thankful it's not 70. Don't make us drop the 10.
You just got Metroid Prime Remastered for 40, so I'm thinking, hey, maybe.
Hey man, if they want to drop it for 40 for both, and they're like, look, we just upscaled them up. All right.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, I think a 40 for just upscale 40, that'd be cool. I think that'd be respectable.
The day Nintendo releases 2 games in one package for $40.
They just did a remaster. For people thought that was going to be 60.
I know.
Vaughn says
$60 for the
Xbox and Nintendo had shadow drops. Where's Sony's? That's a good question.
It's coming apparently soon.
We'll probably talk about that next weekend on the podcast because I think we'll be a little closer to the state of play then. Donovan says Metroid Prime 2 and 3 physical together for 60. I have a few more super chats here, but I want to go around as I'm doing this. Sean, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on RGT85. I won't have a after show tonight because I'm exhausted. But hopefully next week I'll be more well adjusted to everything. Thank you for all your support and nice messages.
You know, if you're not feeling good. Just wait till you.
It's good days and bad days, and sometimes it's like half the day is bad and then half the day is good, and I'm like, well, why was this half bad? But it'll work itself out. I got some shit coming up this week. I gotta do fucking kidney ultrasound or some bullshit this week. But yeah, we'll see how that goes.
That's good, man. You're good. Taking care of yourself. You're doing good, man.
South Coast says GoldenEye re-release really came and went, didn't it? It kind of did. It just I think there was some disappointment in the games. But hey, you know what? At least it exists. So there we go. South Coast then said Prime Remaster reminding me of Star Fox 64 3D and Ocarina of Time 3D. You think we'll ever see those on the Switch? I mean, we already have technically both of them on the Switch through the N64 app.
I don't know if they're ever going to make those 3DS versions on there, but we'll see.
Rylan says, will there ever be a DS and 3DS version to the Switch online? That's where Nintendo's going to run into problems with like the dual screen stuff.
I think eventually one of these days they will have something, but it might be far into the future.
Yeah. Evan says, with how stacked this year is with games, what are your guys' thoughts for Game of the Year contenders? I mean, we got to get some more of these releases out there, but I mean, early on, Hogwarts is at least in the conversation. You know what? They need to come up with the Game of the Year category for just remasters and remakes, because we're going to have a lot of really good ones this year. So I think this is the year to do that. But a lot of stuff coming up, a lot of stuff. So we'll see. We'll see. Daryl says, shout out to OJ for 500 plus people on the pre-show. OJ, where can everyone find you?
Find me right here on YouTube, Player Essence. Got a cool most hype reactions video that I just did from the Nintendo Direct. So if you want to check that out, also talked about Metroid Prime as well. And of course, if you like RPGs, and also RPGs and action games, I talk about that Nintendo stuff as well. And I stream pretty much daily. So tomorrow we're streaming like a Super Bowl like bonus stream. So for all the new members, so thank you guys for that. So if you want to hang out there, and of course I do edited content, stream every single day. So it's a lot of fun. So check it out, Player Essence. Thank you for having me on, John. Appreciate it.
Chris says, hello friends, it's great to see you all again. RGT, I'm so happy that you are back and feeling better. Rumor of big AEW Fight Forever news next week.
Yeah, I might have heard some things.
Oh, okay.
That are coming up for that game.
Good. You know what? I hope it comes out. I hope it's good. I do, because
I have a feeling a marketing blitz is coming very soon. Exciting. I'd like to see another wrestling game be good. So I'll see. Ruffle says, random shout out to Matt Mercer. Wink, wink. Fish fan says, do we think the Tears of the Kingdom will maybe utilize the new OLED dock with the dock updates like visual upscaling or something else? Also shout out to RGT.
No,
I don't think so. I think a lot of that's going to be from the software side.
Yeah, it's going to be, they have like image clarity stuff that they're doing, or probably like the super resolution stuff that they've done for like Nintendo Switch Sports, Splatoon, Xenoblade, stuff like that.
I will say that's going to be a very interesting data mining when that game comes out and people look through the code and they're like, okay, this is how they did it, or potential traces for future plans, we'll say, for hardware might be in there. So it'll be interesting. Casual says, you think for 60 you get 16 gigabyte cart, Tears of the Kingdom, 70 gets 32 gigabyte. I don't even think they're going to get that complicated. I think it's just 70 and it's just 32 gig cart with everything on it. Diogo says $10 USD plus for Ganondorf dub. Zohar says RGT85 gives the best cameos. You always go above and beyond. Thank you, always do. Glad you're feeling better. I'm console fanboy, by the way. You're the best.
Appreciate you, Zohar.
And South Coast says Tears of the Kingdom, more like Tears of the $78 game. Am I right? And Evan, where can everyone find you?
Kimmerix Project, pretty much anywhere. Twitter, on YouTube here. If you're into skirmish tabletop games, I'm currently running videos, trying to put one out a week for the Warhammer 40k themed kill team game. I usually play with my friends and go over rules and stuff. So if you're interested in that, Kimmerix Project on YouTube.
Fee, who says, I'm 100 hours in the Fire Emblem Engage bandwidth front mission. Hope they last me till Metroid Prime physical drops with Octopass real soon. And I said, MH kisses Sean.
Thank you.
Ruffle says PC gamers are using Tears of Kingdom Price as the perfect excuse to pirate the game, as if they weren't going to do that already. Thoughts on pirating new games?
I mean, you said it yourself. They weren't going to buy it anyway, so.
Energy says, do you think Metal Gear Solid is coming this year? I think at least a collection, a remaster of some of the older ones will come this year. I don't know if three might fall into next year, but I think it's gonna be cool when it gets revealed. I think Konami is prepping Metal Gear stuff. Exciting stuff. Wraith says, as far as the price of Tears of the Kingdom, I would assume Tears of the Kingdom is the largest budget that Nintendo has ever spent. It would probably rival most current gen AAA games. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. Darwin, no message there. Thanks, Darwin. And Darwin says, do you think the Switch is successfully backwards compatible? I am leaning more and more towards yes at this point. Yeah.
I think it will be.
Yeah. MTS says Super Bowl picks. I'm going with the Eagles.
No, I'll say Eagles just because East Coast, NFC East.
I'll go with Chargers. The Chargers. Yes, that's all.
There we go. Let's go.
Are they playing in the Super Bowl?
Yeah. No, the Chargers, Super Bowl.
Chargers? How about the 49ers? Oh, no. 49ers aren't in it either.
Nope.
Guess I'll go with
sad times.
The Mahomes. Who does Mahomes play for? Go with his team.
Vita says, how sick would it be if Tears had a 3-day time loop like Majora's Mask? Oh gosh, I feel like that would be a whole thing online for that.
No.
That'd be
crusty ass.
Make me sick.
1 year development cycle, crusty ass Majora's Mask time looping. Did he say that? He said Majora's Mask, right?
Yeah, like Majora's Mask. Yeah.
No, they only did that because they had 1 year. They were they had to panic to put something together.
Andre says, if they remaster Double Dash with online or Gotcha Force, I'll finally buy a black OLED Switch and forget waiting for Switch Pro to buy my first Switch. That'd be something. Gabrielle says, what Nintendo IP could use Retro's new HD engine?
Metroid Prime 2.
Geist.
Oh, dude, that'd be so sick.
That would be cool. Eternal Darkness. Ooh.
Oh, that'd be interesting as well. They just get some like mature, like those kind of like more mature
weird
games.
stuff with Eternal Darkness's license, though.
Is there?
Is it? Nintendo owns the license.
There's something. There's something.
They've been renewing it.
Is there?
What do you mean?
There's something with the game itself.
Oh,
I think it's kind of like a situation, kind of like GoldenEye, where there's not just one hand involved. There's another hand involved.
Really?
I'm interested. Who else is involved in that game?
What's the guy's name?
That's Dennis Dyack, Silicon. You talk about that guy, Silicon Studio.
Yeah.
He has some stake in that.
Yes.
Really?
I believe so.
Goodness, I did not know. I got to research more. Okay, good stuff.
And then over on Streamlabs, Ricky says, hey guys, glad your skater voice phase is done, John. Question, do you think all the Nintendo Switch Online content will be carried over to next gen? I think all the consoles, like the digital stuff, I think that will be. That's part of their subscription with emulators and ROM, but I think that'll move right over.
I always have to talk about this or show it over again, but Nintendo actually already told their investors they're going to do that. Like that's literally in like a graph that they showed to their investors. Like, hey, yeah, we want to carry this going forward in the future.
It's a nice chart, man.
I think they'll refine it though, and it'll be just one application on your desktop dashboard or whatever, kind of like how we have that little red button on the bottom left, but that'll be like they'll have a whole thing set up there and it'll just tie right into it. And then Ricky says shout out to RGT85 who's back on the Spawncast soon. It's not the same without Sean.
Don't lose that number, Ricky.
And Zelda says, just to support keep being the best podcast in gaming and gaming news. Thank you Zelda Hype, appreciate that. And I think we have everything here. Evan, we had all the Discord questions?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Thanks, everyone, for joining us tonight on the Spawncast. It was a fun week. Good to have Sean back here as well. Shout out to Sean. And I think we'll have a fun week this week coming up as well. And next week, I think we'll be starting to talk about some of the state of play news that's going to get out there. And it should be a good time. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We'll be back here 9 p.m. Eastern time next Saturday night. And we'll see you guys then.